Good morning. It's the middle of the week. It's just 38 more days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and you're very welcome to the AM show. This morning, of course, we start by serving you the AM news, and then we'll continue by engaging our guest, Dr. Kwame Asasante. He's head for the Center for European Studies. He'll help us to review the newspapers and the stories captured in there. And after that, Muftana Bill Abdullahi will bring you AM Sports. If you've been following us for a while, you know right after that we get into our big stories. Now today, we'll take a look at the national security chiefs who are racing against time to find peace in the conflict that has ravaged the town of Bawku, that has seen recent insurrection of violence, resulting in the loss of lives of 16 people. 38 days away from the elections. We'll explore the options for peace in this protracted conflict as the Minister for Chieftaincy cautions against politicization of this issue. Of course, we'll bring you details and update, but also, with only a few hours to go for the grand finale, the excitement is palpable as the ultimate shutdown between St. Augustine's College, Infantipum School and Keta Senior High School gets underway. We're talking about the National Science and Maths Quiz, and we'll be telling you how each school is preparing earnestly to clinch the trophy. It's happening today, and you can catch all the details right here on Joy News. Folks, you're invited to join us with your comments and your thoughts either right now via social media at Joy News on TV or at the tail end of the program when we open the phone lines for you to call and have your say. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start now with the AM News. This is the AM News. Details now. Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng has ruled out the possibility of declaring a state of emergency in Bawku, asserting that security officials are actively working to resolve the tensions by facilitating the departure of rival chief Seydou Abagri from the town. Now, this move aims to stabilize the volatile situation and restore peace ahead of the upcoming elections. There's more in this report.
Early a month before the December general election, Bawku has been shaken by renewed clashes, forcing feuding factions back to the negotiation table in hopes of restoring peace. The unrest, sparked by the controversial return of rival chief Seydou Abagri, has led to the tragic loss of 16 lives in just a few days. Security chiefs are working to remove him to quell rising tensions. That's according to Chieftaincy Religious Affairs Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng.
In terms of how the rival chief ended up in Bawku, I'll leave that to security agencies to answer that. It's unfortunate he did. It's something that we have to find answers to and also to try and deal with it, because his very presence is creating the problems. And indeed, as you read from the statement yesterday, it's causing a lot of unrest and unease and tension. So let's, as I say, leave that to security agencies.
The government has also enhanced security in Bawku, increasing police and military presence and initiating a strict curfew to curb further violence.
Government yesterday released a press statement that declared a curfew in the Bawku area due to the substantial threat to public safety and security. Government is guided by its responsibility to protect lives and property, and above all, to enforce law and order to restore normalcy as quickly as possible.
The Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng also disclosed that eminent chiefs led by Santehene Otufuo Saitutu II are mediating between the factions who are currently cooperating.
From the role of the key personalities who are helping to resolve, indeed, you recall that the government has requested Otumfuo the Santehene to take sole responsibility in terms of negotiating and discussing and bringing this whole thing to some amicable solution. And he's been doing that. it's not just because of this incident. I know he's called them severally to Malaysia. I know he's in touch. And indeed, just recently, for the past 3 or 4 days, we have been talking to him and he's talking to them, and indeed that is going down well.
There's also the race against time to end the negotiations before the elections.
We cannot afford a long dragging out of this conflict into the election period. Don't forget that election itself brings tension anyway, and so you don't want to add the Bawku matter to it, so we better deal with it quickly. Don't also forget that we also have the little matter of our northern border. It's not a little matter, it's a big matter, but that's also something we keep an eye on. So you don't want Bawku matter to drag for too long. And both factions are aware of this. They're aware of the election implications. They're aware of the attempt by the jihadists in the Burkina Faso end. So when we talk to them, they're all conscious of the sanctity of our boundaries and our borders.
Mr. Samuel Boateng once again appealed directly to the youth in Bawku, imploring them to abstain from provocative actions to support the peace process.
To my brothers and sisters in Bawku area, and that's why I'm wearing the hat. Normally I don't, but today I decided to do that. I'm addressing you, my brothers and sisters in the Bawku area, and wherever you find yourself, please reach out to your neighbor. Bridge the divide that separates you and build a future where peace reigns supreme. You have lived together peacefully in the past. You have intermarried and produced children of parentage from all sides. I plead with you to take a step back from these seemingly provocative happenings and show exceptional love to yourselves. For you are one people, as we are all one people in this country, working hard to better our lives.
For Joy News, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson.
Away from that, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has emphasized that the House of Legislature is a vital institution that should not be taken for granted, as it serves as the mirror of Ghana's democracy. Speaking at the inauguration of the Parliament Supplementary Office Complex, Alban Bagbin indicated that Parliament embodies the principles of representation, accountability and governance, reflecting the people's voice and holding the government accountable to the people, and the public rather. Now, the Speaker called on stakeholders and Ghanaians to uphold and respect the institution's role in shaping the nation's democratic framework.
Any democracy anywhere is as good as its parliament. If the people are to benefit from democratic governance, it is the parliament, which is the mirror of democracy, that is the focus that should be strengthened. Because apart from lawmaking, it is parliament that has the only function of oversight. And it is Parliament that should ensure that our collective efforts, whether in terms of energy, in terms of resources, in terms of trust, is properly applied to the benefit of everybody. So strengthening Parliament is not just the duty of Parliament, but of everybody. And we have to work together to make sure that our people don't suffer and struggle to elect us in vain. And so what we're doing here is towards focusing to make sure that the will of the people, which is reposed in Parliament, is not misapplied.
Meanwhile, former Majority Leader in Parliament, Abraham Osayeju, has called for a swift resolution of the current impasse between the judiciary and Parliament after Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, through his lawyers, sought the Supreme Court to set aside its order, which said his declaration of 4 seats vacant. Osayeju believes if the standoff between the two arms of government is not resolved amicably, the nation could be heading for a disaster.
Everyone is concerned. Everyone is concerned. Because if a boat doom, especially we didn't have a national budget before December, and we cannot go like this as a country. I mean, we don't want to have any disaster in the country. We pray that both sides will see reason.
Will you take this up? I'm told there's a board meeting today. Will you take this up?
Well, it's not part of the agenda for the board. This is not part of the board's mandate. It's for the MPs and the speaker. Yeah. But we will see what we can do about that. Yes, because we are heading towards a disaster. Thank you.
Now, as discussions intensify over the future of small-scale mining in Ghana, the Atame Institute, led by Kuku Anyidoho, is calling for a shift in focus. Rather than imposing a blanket ban, Anyidoho argues that Ghana should highlight and promote responsible mining practices. Our correspondent in Natalia Kwanza takes us to Takwa, where both government and industry leaders are advocating for a balanced, sustainable approach to mining that protects the environment and supports local communities.
Led by President Kuku Anyidoho advocates a fresh perspective, urging stakeholders to highlight good practice in responsible mining rather than imposing a blanket ban on the entire industry.
But this issue of mining goes beyond partisan politics. The discourse has been going on for a long time. And I decided that responsibly, I will enter into the heartbeat of the whole issue. The active participants must have a say and a voice in this discourse. Every profession has professionals. In the same way, you have quacks and fakes in every profession. Unfortunately, many of us have become experts with very little knowledge. And we continue to pollute. We say we are polluting the water bodies. It is true. But the amount of pollution that is taking place on the airwaves is more dangerous than what is happening here in the mining centers. A lot of pollution because of lack of knowledge. And so the airwaves are being polluted every day.
Kuku Anyidoho, along with a delegation led by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, George Mekuduka, visited several mining sites in Takwa. They were impressed by the mechanism mine shafts, strict safety regulation, and environmentally responsible practices.
And so we have come to seek knowledge, to seek understanding. So here we are. And we are seeing for ourselves that this has got nothing to do with the destruction of water bodies. And I've heard all of you. We are all concerned. Nobody should go and misquote me. We are concerned about the destruction of the water bodies. No two ways about that. But we must do it holistically, comprehensively. If UMAT is developing or has developed something that can help clean up the water, beautiful. But this blanket call that we must take away the licenses of everybody because of those who are destroying, I believe it's not fair. And that is why we're here, to give voice to those of you legitimately working and doing the right thing. But unfortunately, you are caught up in the maze of those who are doing the wrong.
George Mekuduka emphasized that discussion around mining should not be clouded by emotions, but rather be rooted in fact.
If you put a moratorium on small-scale mining, where will these workers standing? And those underground, where would they be? So obviously, we need to invest as a country in regularizing the small-scale mining sector that is contributing not less than 8.7 to our GDP. That is significant enough to regularize, to, in a way, cushion the coffers of this country. So it's not a joke to sit somewhere to just comment, because there's a commentary kind of Pandora that is opened. So you also sit and talk. We don't mind in Accra. Come to the field. Come to the field. Move out of Accra. Come to the field. If you are talking of river bodies that are being destroyed, yes, it is true that recalcitrant miners are destroying our river bodies. But how do we also make sure we keep that menace? Is by collective decision.
The Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly has taken a decisive step to address climate change impacts within the metropolis by launching the Sustainable Energy Access and Climate Action Plan, known as CCAP. Now, this plan aims to cut greenhouse gas emissions, enhance clean energy access, and build resilience against climate-related risks, all essential components for promoting sustainable development in Sekondi Takoradi. There's more in this report.
The Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly has unveiled a Sustainable Energy Access and Climate Action Plan, CCAP, a strategic initiative targeting climate change challenges within the metropolis. The plan is a collaborative effort between STMA and the Covenant of Mayors in Sub-Saharan Africa.
The vision embedded in the CCAP, which sets ambitious targets, for example, 25% of public buildings to generate energy from solar, 15% of home to be powered by solar energy, and 25% reduction in greenhouse gas by 2050 from both the transportation and building sectors. These goals emphasize equipping people, particularly the youth, with technical capacity in renewable energy while fostering partnerships with the private sector to drive innovation and investment.
Metropolitan Chief Executive Abdul Mumin Isa, who led the CCAP launch in Takoradi, highlighted the urgency of tackling climate change, noting the per capita greenhouse gas emission in Sekondi Takoradi currently stands at 26% of the global average.
Having fully recognized the above climate hazards in outdoor cities, the STMA in October of 2023 signed a groundbreaking agreement with the Covenant of Mayors in the Sub-Saharan Africa to address the climate change impact. Following this, STMA and COMSA worked with a local consultant, PSS Albania, to conduct a desktop review of all existing climate change data. The research conducted revealed that greenhouse gas emission per person in Sekondi Takoradi is 26% of the global average. These emissions originate from three main sectors: 56% from stationary sources, 31% from waste, and 13% from transportation.
The CCAP launch marks a crucial step in Sekondi Takoradi's journey towards sustainable development, showcasing power of collaboration in driving meaningful climate action and setting a standard for other cities to follow in addressing climate crisis.
In other stories, the Statue of Unity, the world's tallest statue at 182 meters, was built to honor India's first Home Minister, Sardar Patel, for his vital role in India's independence and unification. Constructed in 46 months, the monument has drawn over 100 million visitors in 6 years, creating around 3,000 direct and 7,000 indirect jobs. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam tells us more in this report.
One key figure that plays a significant role in India's independence and unification is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. According to the public relations officer of the Statue of Unity, Rahul Patel, the first Home Minister of India, was responsible for uniting all 562 principal states of the country to build the Republic of India.
Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was so much respected at that time that on his words, the kings were ready to donate their territories, and they all helped in forming this one India. So when all the kings, more than 562 princely states who have been merged together, Britishers never thought that all the kings will play such kind of role.
A 182-meter statue has therefore been constructed near Kevadia in the state of Gujarat, India, to honor him. The 597-feet statue, christened the Statue of Unity, is the world's tallest statue. Aware of the several statues that has been constructed that bore little resemblance to their original owners, Rahul Patel says the construction of the Statue of Unity is an engineering marvel which perfectly matches the Iron Man of India.
And many people in India had seen Vallabhbhai Patel. We have his original photos and videographs also. So it was very easy to compare. So we need to construct it very accurately so that all the features, his eyes, his nose, his ears, hands, fingers, everything should be measurably equal to the weight, to the size of the statue.
Beyond the construction of the statue was a dream of Sardar Patel being fulfilled. The people of Gujarat and other neighboring towns used to walk long distances for water. The dream of Sardar Patel was therefore to construct the dam for water. In addition to that, a hydro dam was also constructed out of it to serve 3 states in the country. The dam is 163 meters tall and 1,210 meters long.
In 2017, on 17 September, the dam got completed, and because of this, more than 10,000 villages of this state are getting drinking water. More than 10 lakh hectare of land is getting cultivated using this water. So that's why this river is very important, and we also produce electricity from this dam. 1450 megawatts of electricity, the hydropower electricity, is getting generated from this dam, and the electricity is being distributed between the 3 states. So 3 states. One is Madhya Pradesh, another is Maharashtra, and then Gujarat. And Rajasthan, which is a desert kind of state, again adjoining a neighbor of our state, is getting drinking water. So 4 states benefit from this single dam. So when the dam got completed, our Prime Minister, sir, is giving a tribute to this man that, look, we have completed your dream.
The construction of the Statue of Unity started in 2015 and was completed within a space of 46 months. Since its completion in 2018, it has attracted on a yearly basis over 100 million visitors, creating 3,000 and 7,000 direct and indirect jobs respectively. For the people of Gujarat State and by extension India, deep in their hearts, the Statue of Unity is the 8th wonders of the world. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Gujarat, India.
Now, Joy Prime's Culinary Combat Big Chef Tertiary on Sunday saw all 6 tertiary institutions energetically enter the kitchen to embark on the Indomie and Flavor Infusion Challenge. Unfortunately, the episode took a disappointing turn as all schools failed to impress the judges in the kitchen. Lois Choladeyemi tells us more in this report.
Episode 6 of Big Chef Tertiary Season 2 saw all 6 teams walk into the kitchen ready to partake in the Indomie and Flavor Infusion Challenge. The judges gave each team tamarind fruit to infuse in the meals for flavor. Each team had 30 minutes to prepare their starters and main meals.
So for your surprise today, you are going to infuse tamarinds in your special Indomie recipe.
So you're supposed to use the tamarind in your Indomie. You need to use it as part of your main ingredient. So I'm counting you down from 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now. Get all your ingredients. Remember, you are not going back after this chance, so pick up every ingredient that you may need.
Judges shared their expectations for the episode and went round to make sure contestants were abiding by the rules of the kitchen. Time for cooking elapsed and the 6 teams were instructed to plate their meals for tasting.
With what they are coming to do with Indomie, we are expecting a lot of creativity, not your usual Indomie way of preparing. So that is what we are looking at.
They should just give me something that will blow my mind, not the regular Indomie.
I want something very specific. I don't want any confusing flavors.
The episode took an unexpected turn as judges shared their disappointment with the meals prepared by the contestants. As a result, the Star School of the Day title was not awarded to any of the remaining 6 teams.
This is not, it doesn't even look like food. It doesn't even taste like food. Indomie is like a canvas. You can do so much to it. Why you just cooked it even without the seasoning? What if I don't want the sauce? Because the sauce looked like puke.
That's why you want to spit out.
Yeah. I don't think the okra was really necessary. If you're going to make it the key point of your food, it should have shown more.
Did you taste your food? You did not?
Yeah.
Okay. No comment.
There's something about it's really good. It's really good. Thank you.
But your Indomie, your pasta was overcooked, your noodles was overcooked. I think this is the simplest tax we have given them.
But yet,
so far, they have all like. I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked.
Judges are very disappointed. I am extremely disappointed because why would you do this? But whatever it is, I'm sure we're not awarding Star School because everybody did not impress.
At the end of the episode, the judges decided to send representatives of Bolgatanga Technical University, Mabel and Baraka home as they presented the worst meal of the day.
One of you has a little chance over the other. Bolgatanga Technical University, this is the end of the road for you. TATU, you have another chance to prove yourselves.
The judges advised the remaining 5 teams to visit their drawing boards, sharpen their skills, and return to the kitchen next week with their A games. Lois Shola Adeyemi's report for Joy Prime.
Well, on that note, let's get into our business update with Benjamin Akakbo.
Welcome to Business. In our first story, the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research is kicking against the abolition of the betting tax. ISA warns scrapping the tax could seriously affect Ghana's IMF program. Now, the director of the ISA, that is Professor Peter Quarty, said there should be transparency in the funds mobilized from the tax handle. He was speaking at the launch of the State of the Ghanaian Economy Report and Review of the third quarter economic performance.
To ensure that we get more value addition, high value services, not just small scale services, trading, etc. High value services in ICT and other service related areas. And finally, the issue about digitalization, trying to digitalize our revenue sources is very key. We want to reduce the human interface, want to raise more revenue from property rates, want to raise more revenue from the ports. If we cut out the human interface as much as possible, we will to raise more revenue from property taxes and other forms of taxes. And then we can then talk about scrapping e-levy, scrapping COVID-19 levy, but we do not subscribe to scrapping betting tax because tax is also used to correct behavior. We don't want to turn our youth into betting, where betting becomes a business. Rather, let's tax that sector, use the money to promote jobs, create sustainable jobs that would engage the young people that we turn out from our institutions.
Now, the Turkish ambassador to Ghana, Hussein Gungor, has reiterated Turkey's commitment to strengthening its relationship with Ghana and enhancing cooperation in areas of mutual interest. According to him, Turkey is exploring key sectors of Ghana's economy to invest in. He spoke to Joy Business at the Turkish Embassy's microscope donation event at the University of Ghana Medical Sciences Department.
We have a flagship scholarship program. There are thousands of students studying in Turkey from all over the world. And in January, the application starts. So it's a competitive process. And the last year, over 300 students applied, and 34 of them went to Turkey. Now they are in Turkey. They selected their programs out of more than 200 programs. And as I mentioned, it is artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, medical services, medicine, various engineerings that I didn't hear before, environment, social sciences. That's why I say, I mean, when I see this approach of young minds, and Ghana has every reason to be optimistic about its future, and Turkey is glad to be part of that. That's what I mentioned. So next year, please, to all young people, please apply. It's a very good opportunity, and we will be very happy to engage.
That's how we cap off business this morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Of the AM News on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because we're getting into a news review segment with Dr. Kwame Asasante. Back in a bit. Welcome aboard the news review segment on the AM Show. And right before we get into the newspapers, let's introduce our guest to you. Joining us this morning, a Wednesday morning, is Dr. Kwame Asasante, the head for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He hasn't joined us. He will join us in a bit. But Benjamin, if I was to give you 2 minutes, what would be your take on national issues? What's happening that is boggling your mind that you want to express yourself on? I'll give you 2 minutes to do that.
I like how you're making me your in-house guest this morning. Let me start by commending your matching of colors this morning.
Thank you.
The necklace looks lavender to me, and then your orange and the pearly white ring and everything in the outfit, and then your coiffure. When the French say coiffure, you know what they are referring to.
Awema.
So how you fixed your hairdo. 2 minutes, huh? 2 minutes. There are a number of issues. One of those trending bits has to do with, and may her soul rest in peace, Ekiadonko, and her sad, very sad passing. I mean, the last thing I remember of her was her flagellation of the NDC, tongue lashing, which I felt was not the forum, but that's what's stuck in my head till now. She added spice to our democratic practice, though if you asked me certain questions about what she had been saying and how it could have transformed the lives of Ghanaians, I wouldn't know whether I would have been so impressed. But I feel she added color to our democracy. She made the point that different kinds of people ought to be allowed to get in, express their sentiments, express their thoughts, participate in the political process and all of that. So we mourn with that party. We know the EC has come out to say that it has ceased the printing of, ballot papers, ballot sheets and all of that on the back of this, and that the GFP should get a new candidate to step in. I think Roman Fada or something like that is the running mate, or someone like that. And no disrespect by saying someone like that. It's just that I'm trying to get the name right. So if I'm wrong, and we'll see. Some were forecasting that the numbers would change and that a certain Chairman Wood to me had said this, and I mean none of that I believe is going to happen. The tussle also between Parliament and the Supreme Court also continues. And for me, I'm not sitting on any side, or I just hope that this will lead to better straightening of the laws on these matters so that we are clear moving forward. If X happens, Why is the result in future parliaments and in future interactions between the judiciary and the legislature and the judiciary. Quick thoughts on this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. I just to add, a bit to that. It may come across as it's a tumultuous time for us, for our democracy, but this is how we learn, this is how we evolve, this is how we solidify the very foundation of what we are practicing in terms of separation of power. So the argument, the back and forth is good and healthy for us. Let's bring in Dr. Kwame Asante now. He joins us via Zoom. Doc, thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday morning. What will be your 2-minute take? Doc, if you're with us, please unmute. Okay, well, we can hear you.
Yes. I want to look at something briefly, and it's about a certain phenomenon that is rearing its ugly head in our political system, and it's not good enough. What am I looking at? I'm looking at recently you've seen chiefs endorsing political candidates. Clear. And that conversation is further, supported by political parties, where they put these statements or these individuals, feature them on their Facebook walls and then the internet. All right. It's a worrying situation because if you look at that from the perspective of the ruling recently given by the Supreme Court, that no chief in this country is allowed to be part of partisan politics. The best that the chief can do is to endorse a policy of what? A political party or a leader, but not to endorse the candidate or the candidature. This is what we are seeing now. And I am worried because as a watcher of the democratic space, we know that democracy hinges on rule of law. And anything that comes from the court is nothing but the law of the land, which must be obeyed and enforced. Some of these chiefs, and I'm not saying all the chiefs, some of these chiefs have started endorsing political candidates, telling us all manner of things about them, that they endorse them and all that. It is totally wrong. Those chiefs, with all due respect, who are engaged in that, they should desist from that, because the Supreme Court ruling is clear. And any other thing that is done towards this end is nothing but what? Undermining that ruling. If anybody is to undermine any rule in this country, our chiefs it shouldn't be our chiefs.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be them, because they are epitome of everything that we have in this country. They shouldn't go on that trajectory. What is also more is that you see political parties putting these statements on their Facebook wall to attract, attention and all that. In effect, they are endorsing this crime. And a party that is guilty of this is the MPP. I've seen it on their Facebook wall, and a number of them have downloaded them to see and interrogate the issue. It's not the best practice. Okay. We don't want the party to do that, because the party in government that must enforce the rules of the Supreme Court. We don't want our cause to be attacked, and their rules should not be disrespected. This is my message for all those political actors who are guilty of this. They should shy away from this.
If I may, Sweetie Aboji, I don't know whether I agree the political parties should be more responsible. But can we blame them? Can we? I blame the chiefs. I've always said this, even if the Constitution, even if there were nothing preventing chiefs from openly participating in partisan politics, so to speak. My point is, chiefs should behave like any serious business people. If you're a serious business person, whether it's Democrat or Republic, NPP or NDC, you should have a way of staying in the middle. You do get to vote. When you are in that booth, express your opinion. And after that, be neutral. I'm seeing too many chiefs. And some people will say, we media people also vote. But some of you may think, and it's interesting because if I take you back, then you would have said, I was on this side and now I'm on the other side. We're okay being in this position. But I'm saying common sense dictates that you don't have to do this. And there's experience. When the president said, you people, I appointed a deputy minister and your MP, and you voted him out. So I am not developing that area. I mean, it may not necessarily be what has happened and a few things, but then you set yourself up for enmity. Okay. So they compile. This chief, you said that this person was better, and now the person has lost. I am now president. I will show you something. And they compile a list, and your areas are affected. How does that make any sense? Stay neutral. Receive everybody who comes. Everyone who comes, be nice to the person. God be with you and whatever. And dispatch them. Whatever conversations you may have away from the public eye is up to you. And how you vote is up to you. But don't say that in the public eye. You are not supposed to. But they will not listen. So let them face the consequences.
Well, thank you both for those thoughts, leaving us with something to think about. Let's get straight into the newspapers. I want to start with the Ghanaian Times. On the front page, Mahama calls for truce in Bawku conflict. Renewed chieftaincy dispute, the same issues. Stop politicizing Bawku conflict, says the former member of parliament, Asamoah Boateng, admonishes. And that's the chieftaincy minister. Bawku under curfew following deadly chieftaincy clashes. And Ghana's vigilante groups increased from 27 to 72. That's serious. Let me start from there. And that story is on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And it reads, I'll get to it in a bit, from 27 to 72 in how many years? I'm curious to know. So the number of vigilante groups operating in the country has increased from 27 to about 72 as captured under the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019. A security analyst, Dr. Adam Bona, has indicated, according to him, most of these groups were no longer operating as vigilante groups as they had changed to become registered private security agencies, while some serve as escorts for political parties, which made it difficult to identify them. And Dr. Bona has therefore called on the Minister for National Security, Mr. Albert Kandapa, to investigate the operations and ensure that leaders of these groups were arrested and prosecuted. Doc, I want to pick your thoughts on this quickly before I move on to other stories. Should we be concerned about this?
Exactly so. Exactly so. You and I are alive to the fact that this country has been struggling against these ugly institutions that we in recent time we found in our political space. So in the wisdom of the leaders of this country, a law was crafted, a bill was crafted, passed into law, and today we have a law against vigilantism. Yeah. So it's surprising to me that they still exist. And the state apparatus, I'm talking about the coercive apparatus, have not, grabbed them. It's worrying because these are evil men and women in our society that we need to root them out of our society. Their activities are so nefarious and so known to everybody that we don't want to encourage them 1 inch. So I think that the IGP will take political notice of them and then they deal with them head on. Because, look, the activities of these vigilantes is very, very dangerous. More so when you are talking about the fact that they've changed their modus operandi. That is more interesting. Yeah. We need to nip this phenomenon in the bud. Okay.
Let me do some other stories now. Benjamin, you want to reflect on the security issue?
Oh, no. My interest is how we've, it's basically a reversal of the numbers, 27 to 72.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out from when, but I think the story doesn't detail. However, the 27 was captured under the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act. So I'm sure that is between 2019 and now 2024 that Dr. Adam Bona is...
I mean, there are two sides to this coin. One, the fact that indeed, for example, galamseyers, you want them to stop, right? But they must move on to something. So you must create employment opportunities for them. So you would say that people who are dabbled in land guardism and these things should go through some reformatory process, and then they would end up somewhere. But the question too is, those who have committed crime, what happens to them? They can't just move on. So such people should be dealt with as far as the law is concerned. So I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Especially ahead of election 2024, this is serious. But let's do some other stories. So on the renewed chieftaincy dispute, Asamoah Boateng is admonishing politicians to stop politicizing the Bawku conflict. And let me get into this. The Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng, yesterday cautioned politicians and Ghanaians in general to refrain from politicizing the ongoing conflict in Bawku in the Upper East region. And he emphasized that exploiting the conflict for political gains would only lead to further bloodshed of the innocent rather than resolving the issue. And when I think about this and read all the articles and news stories that have come out from this Bawku issue from, I think I went as far back as 2019 or so, issues that are just coming out from Bawku.
I mean, it goes, this goes way back.
Well, the things that I'm reading, reading up and catching up. Benjamin, you can tell that there are people who are sponsoring this, This is beneficial to someone.
I mean, the fact that both sides are so heavily armed.
Yeah, where are they getting the money to import all these arms into the country? And who is really spearheading all of this? We can't say that our security agencies are not, they're not equipped to investigate and identify who is really responsible and, bringing all these arms into the country.
And the thing is this, whether smuggling or whatever, recently the Reuters report, I mean, some security analysts have listened to Emmanuel Bombande, among others, say that it is excessive. It doesn't reflect the true picture. But Professor Enning has said over time, we have all the ingredients here. You have gold, and up north, there's a lot of gold. Some people don't know that. Yeah. And we're just hoping that there will not be too much galamsey in such areas. But you have this resource, right? You are also close to countries that have coups or have terrorist, insurgency going on. You also have some sparsely populated areas, and then you have conflicts. It's a cocktail, a recipe for disaster. And I think sometimes we sit down south and act like, oh, it is up north. It's like when my family was in Nigeria. If it happens up north, it will trickle down south. That's the problem. But we are pussyfooting with this thing and acting like, oh, it is their problem. It is our problem. Doc.
And now admonishing us, politicians and general public, not to politicize it, I don't think it's the right call. We should actually be looking to the people responsible for this. Dr. Kwame Asasa, what do you make of this?
Yeah, very unfortunate situation. Unfortunate in the sense that the good people of this area have not known peace for a very long time. And the problem lingers on. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. My worry is that, look, this is affecting lives, economic activities, and the rest of them. You can live a meaningful life when you are in that area. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't be like this. You were wondering who are those selling these things. We have merchants of menace in this regard. They are those, yes, who deal with this, get cash in on this, and then undermine the security architecture of this country. All of us must support the security agencies to root them out and then ensure that we have lasting peace. And then state must also stay away from, chieftaincy issues. If you look at over the years, political actors, and when I'm saying the state, I'm talking about the political actors, they fuel these problems, and this is where we are. It's unfortunate. The people of Bawku deserve peace. Please, let us support that cause.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
I love the way, though, exactly.
Yeah.
Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice said, Merchants of Menace. I think, Doc, with your permission, I'm going to pilfer that. I'm going to steal it. I think it will appear in the title of one of my blunt thoughts soon.
Please go ahead. Yeah. We all give thanks to Shakespeare. Yes.
I heard MFA who say, call them warpreneurs and merchants of menace. But Benjamin, let's do your paper now.
Well, the Daily Graphic is where I'm going to go. 447,698 students placed into senior high schools and other institutions. Overturn your ruling, Speaker asks Supreme Court. Government PSWU signed 3 conditions of service agreements. Then the banner headline, government urges ceasefire in Bawku, imposes curfew, deploys security. We've spoken about it. Then, UTAG calls off strike over Galamsey, and CBG presents 30 computers to 3 schools in Agona. Let me start from the back page. The University Teachers Association of Ghana has suspended the strike it embarked on due to the increasing nature of illegal mining and the association's desire for the government to put measures in place to curb the menace. It said the decision to suspend the industrial action was in line with a widespread and democratic vote by UTAG members nationwide. I think I saw a vote recently by UTAG Legon that was for the strike to continue, but I guess the overarching body across the country. It said, UTAG stated that the current circumstances in the country, as well as the interest of students, their parents and guardians, had made it necessary to explore alternative legal avenues to address the critical issue. And it also says, quoting, suspending the strike was not an easy decision, as we recognize the importance of the cause we are advocating. We understand that this may disappoint some members of the public, and we do not take their confidence in us lightly, a statement said. I think UTAG, at least, has shown face and done better than the rest of organized labor, who it was a lot of huffing and puffing without action. CBG presents 30 computers to 3 schools in Agona, and the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited has donated 30 desktop computers to 3 junior high schools at Agona in the Efija-Setre South District in the Ashanti region to equip the students with essential information and technology skills to bridge the digital gap. I think I'll do one more on education before I get on to the other stories. So page 13 then is where I will go. A total of 447,698 qualified basic education certificate examination candidates have been automatically placed in senior high schools and technical institutes of their choices under the computerized school selection and placement system. The figure forms 80.93% of the overall number that sat the examination this year. However, a statement from the Ministry of Education said 104,918 qualified students could not be matched to any of their choices, with 73,390 of those who could not be matched with any of their choices, representing 13.28% of qualified candidates placed in schools similar to those they selected. The statement said the total number of students placed in schools was 521,088, representing 94.20% of qualified candidates. Any thoughts on these before I go to the final batch of stories I'll do, Doc?
Yes, I think I will also commend UTAG for at least showing face in this program. I am also happy in the sense that they are saying that they are looking at other avenues to deal with this issue head on. It means that the aluta continues, even though we have resumed work and all that.
Yeah.
That tells you that this problem is very dear to the hearts of teachers of the university. So I expect the state to set up and let it work. That cosmetic thing we are seeing in the fight against, illegal mining must cease. Because now we are going to shine our eyes and see whether the renewed fight is anything that we can trust. The issue of the CBG donating computers to school, great news. We want to equip our students with all the necessary materials and equipment that they need in doing their work so that they can be abreast with what the changing circumstances of the world. We love that. But I'll ask CBG that they should also turn their attention to the UGEN, the Vice Chancellor's program of 1 student, 1 computer. Yes, we also need support so that we can support our students at the universities. It's good. BEC resource, and then the placement of students in various schools. It's a good program, but every time it is fraught with challenges and all that. But of course, challenges are building blocks of every development. I expect the ministry to be able to rise up to the occasion and deal with this problem so that parents can breathe a sigh of relief.
All right. Very quickly, I'm going to end here. I'll not do the Bawku story because we've already got into that. So, overturn your ruling, Speaker asks Supreme Court. And the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, has filed an application asking the Supreme Court to overturn the stay of execution it granted in respect of the Speaker's ruling that declared 4 seats in Parliament vacant. The Speaker is further seeking an order from the court to set aside the writ filed by the leader of the MPP caucus, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, which sought to prevent the Speaker from making any ruling on the 4 seats. In the application filed at the Apex Court last Monday by his lawyer, Thaddeus Sori, the Speaker contends that the Supreme Court misapplied the law by putting on hold the execution of his ruling because it was a non-judicial decision. And the very final one I'm looking at, government PSWU signed 3 conditions of service agreements. The government has signed 3 comprehensive agreements with 3 workers' associations to improve their conditions of service. The 3 are the Public Services Workers Union, chapters of the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, the National Commission for Civic Education, and the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. The pact signed separately with the 3 associations to improve working conditions and address long-standing concerns were sealed at negotiation meetings held last Friday, that is October the 25th, 2024. Those are the final stories, final batch of stories. Quick reflections, Doc? If not,
I'll look at the Speaker's story. That now all the political actors in this problem, they are in court. That's appropriate forum. So I hope and pray that we'll get finality to this issue so that all the institutions can work and work very well. So I pray that we'll get judgment in no time so that all of us will have peace, because when Parliament have any problem, then it's a problem for the whole state. And I trust the Supreme Court. They will do just that and give us judgment that will stand the test of time. They have done that before, and I know continue to do a good job. So we are waiting for our judges, and we'll listen with rapt attention.
All right.
Let's continue with the Custodian newspaper. On the front page, over 53,000 students get 2024-2025 free SHS placement. UTAG suspends Galamsey strike. NPP mourns Ekuadonko's death. Baumia is the best to secure Ghana's progress, according to NAPO, and Kid Ghana, second ranked in telecom sector. We've got into a number of these stories, so let me quickly just run through the entire paper. NPP mourns Ekuadonko's death. Baumia is best to secure Ghana's progress, says NAPO. Speaker Bagbin chairs the Conference of Speakers and Presidents of African Legislatures, that's COSPAL. Let me just get into this a bit. Mr. Bagbin was re-elected during the Second General Assembly of COSPAL in Accra. Other officers who were also elected include Mr. Ibidabo Olufemi as COSPAL Secretary General, Madam Anita Annette, the Speaker of Uganda Parliament, as Vice Chairperson, and 4 regional COSPAL Vice Chairpersons. And the election of Speaker Bagbin, who is Ghana's longest-serving legislator, is a testament to his strong leadership skills. And in his opening remarks, the Speaker urged African legislators to take an active role in advocating the continent's development agenda. The story of the Chieftaincy Minister advocating to stop politicizing Bawku Conflict is also here. Kid Ghana ranked 2nd in terms of telco. In the telco sector, NAPO pledges NPP support for small-scale miners. Government T-bills auction oversubscribed. Really? The government oversubscribed about 11% of its treasury bill sales for the 3rd consecutive week. However, it came at the expense of rising interest rates. According to data from the Bank of Ghana, the government got 4.42 billion Ghana cedis from the auction of the short-term instrument as against a target of 3.98 billion Ghana cedis. Interesting. So the government accepted all the bids tendered for the auction by investors, and about 72% of the bids came from the 91-day bill, and a total of 3.18 billion Ghana cedis was offered for 3 months bill. I'll come to you, Doc, for your reflection on that in a bit. Let me just complete the stories here from the Custodian. Why I Don't Miss My Pusher Character, Jetianan details. Emerging music group No Nation Gang vow to challenge music industry norms to grow their craft. I wish them the very best. South Africa government split over Ukraine visa deal. And senior Malawi...
That one is causing problems, the ANC and the DA.
Yep. Senior Malawi politician accused of plotting to kill president. I think this is interesting. A leading member of Malawi's opposition has been charged with plotting to kill the country's president, Lazarus Chakwera. Now, Patricia Kalaiti, Secretary General of UTM Party, was arrested last week on suspicion of, quote, conspiring with others to commit a serious offense, unquote, appearing on Monday at a court in Malawi's capital. Lingwe, the 57-year-old, did not speak, but her lawyer argued that the politician maintained her innocence, local media reports. And on the back page, or the final page here, Dr. Joyce Esther-Dazi urges SMEs to adopt customer-centric culture for growth. And there's an editorial here, Beyond the Ordinary. Grab a copy of the Custodian newspaper and get into this. Doc, your take.
Yeah, I will look at the T-bills and the fact that people have begun to show interest in them. It's good. It tells you that, yes, if you put things in the right perspective, people will always subscribe to these things. There is also a caution for us that going forward, we need to be very careful the way we manage these financial instruments so that we can always have confidence in the public, because government cannot survive if we don't have the public subscribing to some of these things, and then government also deriving money to run the affairs of the state. But they must make sure that what they do is nothing but what prudent measures they apply them, so that people will still have confidence in the system. I think that is the way to go.
Okay, thank you so much. Final papers?
Well, final batch, the Daily Searchlight. We are creating an environment for the training of 21st century graduates. That's according to Dr. Educhum, the Education Minister. NPA boss named Public Sector Personality of the Year at the Ghana Business Awards. UPSA celebrates 16th congregation as Professor Abednego F.O. Amate ends his term in office. Carnage in Bawku, more than 20 lives lost. It's a question, but I've heard, I believe, the Chieftaincy Minister mentioned 16. Another Alan Chermating, Greater Accra Afro-Franto mega victory walk on November the 2nd. Yesterday, we know that the Vice President was also in Accra, making the rounds, going to some markets and other places, meeting people and interacting with them. Then the Accra Times, vote for Mahama and NDC. Alhaj Musa Bari says so. He is General Secretary of the Fulbe or Fulanis in Ghana. Then ignorance and poverty are bane. You remember what we were saying about chieftaincy and all of that? Well, I don't know. Ignorance and poverty are bane. Speaker Bagman reminds African leaders. Ayensuano, MP, Educational Fund supports 40 students to go back to school, and facelift for Parliament as Speaker Bagman commends ADK Consortium. It's a stack of stories. Alan Chermating is in there. He's hitting Accra on November the 2nd. There's the bit about ignorance and poverty are bane. There's vote for Mahama. That's according to Alhaji Bari, who is a Fulbe General Secretary. Jospon Group on top in Uganda. You may have read that story where they've got that major contract with Yoweri Museveni's Uganda, and more stories. Any quick reflections on these, Doc?
I think I'll look at ignorance and poverty are bane. He has hit the nail right on the head. Ignorance, a lot of ignorance in the system. We need to up our game from academic institutions, from all the social institutions, political institutions. We need to be able to bring our people up to the scratch so that they will be able to participate effectively in the system that we find ourselves. Issue of poverty is an old problem, and the state must continue to fight it and fight it on. Because when you have poverty, it undermines every effort that you put in. So government must make it a priority to deal with it head on.
Well, that should be a wrap. The Ghanaian publisher, just the headlines here, Baumia confident of victory, pledges monthly stipend for chiefs, ADB records 3.4 billion Ghana cedi deposits growth, FDA trains disease surveillance officers on food safety, And of course, the story about stop politicizing Bawku crisis from the Chieftaincy Ministry is also here. That's it for me.
Well, this comes through from our very own Samuel Atame, and I'm going to do it. Happy birthday, Jennifer Dubik Kwache. Jennifer Dubik Kwache, on your first birthday. It's from your parents, Mark and Hetty, your godparents, Samuel Dubik Mahama, and Charlene, your sisters, Naomi and Amanda. We love you, and may you continue to be a blessing to all of us. So from the former ECG boss, from your parents as well, happy birthday to you, Jennifer Dubik Kwache. You are one today. That's interesting. Life, eh? Anyway, would you like to?
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asasante, political scientist and
welcome.
head of European Studies at the University of Ghana. All right, folks, stay for sports. Coming up next, Mufta Nabil Abdullah is standing by to serve you.
Let's do sports now. On the AM show with me, Mufta Nabil Abdullah, Ghana Black Satellites will face Nigeria later today in the WAFU B Under-20 African Cup of Nations happening in Togo. The Black Satellite secured a 2-1 win against Cote d'Ivoire to make it to the final. And the head coach of the team, Desmond Ofer, believes that the tie against Nigeria later tonight will be a difficult one.
It'll be a tough game because we have massive respect for them. Very good team also. So I think on the day we have to be at our absolute 100 to be able to achieve something, yes. We just have to be ready, and no matter what happens on the day, we have to make sure, like I said before, we are the best team. For us, it's where we are now as a nation. We know that we are having an incredible project from the FA, and we believe that we have one of the strongest teams in the tournament. We just have to prove it. We have to show that we are the best. I think our biggest strength is the whole collective of the team. We have an incredible bench, even the players that don't play, and they are fighting every day to get into the squad, and they want to prove something. So for us, once again, the competition is very healthy. Even Jerry Efrey is maybe one of our best players, but in the end, we have some exceptional players on the bench that can come and make a difference, and that's our strength as a team.
Back-to-back finals for Desmond Ofer as head coach of Ghana's Black Satellites. He had led them to win the gold medal during the African Games early this year, and now he's in the final of the WAFU B Under-20 Cup of Nations. And by virtue of securing a ticket to the final means that Ghana has qualified to the next Under-20 African Cup of Nations that will be happening in South Africa next year. Let's come home and talk Ghana Premier League football. Kumasi Asante Kotoko will come up against Legon Cities at the Legon Sports Stadium later tonight. And head coach of the Porcupine Warriors, the Prosper Nathe Ogum, believes that Legon Cities, that have had quite a difficult start in the new Ghana Premier League campaign, will be seeking to redeem themselves later tonight.
That is down fierce no fall. I mean, and where they are now, they are not in a very good position, and they would want to use this to revamp their hopes in the league. So I'm sure they will come in multiple ways in terms of effort, in terms of commitment, in terms of the desire to play well and get the maximum points. So we have to be very careful. We have to also make sure that we stay focused. We don't let a complacency set in. We just have to make sure that tactically, whatever we have to do to make sure that we weaken their strength and then take advantage of their weakness, we do that. For the fans, I would say that we are more than grateful to them for how far they've been with us. They've been supporting us in victory and in draw situations. They've been supporting us. We want to urge them to continue to support us. Their support means a lot to us because it gives us that inner drive to work extra hard beyond our normal to get them the results and make them happy. So we are grateful to them, and we'll still appeal to them to keep coming their numbers, both at our home games and away games.
Let's talk NFL now, and this is a sport that is gradually finding its way into the very fiber of many Ghanaians. And the NFL team, they decided to begin to catch young talents at the age of 12. My colleague Elon Benaya Dafiamakwa was there and has details.
The Under-12 National Championship took place on Saturday, where Al-Walid Comprehensive Basic School emerged victorious, defeating Nima 1 Basic School 12-0 in the finals. The tournament featured 12 teams from schools across Accra and Kumasi, showcasing the sport's growth at the youth level in Ghana. The event also welcomed Minnesota Vikings Brian Asamoah, who launched his own flag football league in Ghana, underscoring the NFL's commitment to expanding the sport in Africa. Head of NFL International, Ifia Law, was excited with what she saw.
We're incredibly impressed with what we've seen today. This is our third year here. Every year we come back, the skills and talents of these players has just improved year on year, and it's so great to see these young people having the opportunity to go away, train hard, improve their skills playing NFL flag, and come back and showcase their incredible talent every year. Just seeing that year-on-year improvement and seeing how naturally these players pick up the game. And it's not just the players that are picking it up naturally, it's also the coaches. Every year they go away and they've learned more as a coach, they've improved, they know how to bring their team to the next level. And so that's incredibly impressive. And seeing how this has grown out, how schools have taken the opportunity to pick up this game and play it since last year. We have more schools in Accra. There's more schools now. We launched in Kumasi. We have Kumasi schools, 2 of which qualified to be here today. So across the board, the level of the competition, but also the growth of the program and the interest from schools and young people is so impressive. Events like this are so beneficial for helping to grow the game because it gives these teams and young people an opportunity to work towards something. They're training all year with their schools, they're working hard, and then they go through a playoff competition in order to qualify for this. So it helps them, aim towards something, work towards a goal, and train hard towards something. And we love to see that. We love to see opportunities for young people. We love to see them being able to take part in our sport. And it's not just events like this. What's incredibly important to us is being able to offer opportunities for young people. The Philadelphia Eagles are here at our NFL flag tournament today as well. The Eagles have global marketing rights in Ghana, and so they're also supporting the local growth of the game here, giving people the opportunity to engage both in the sport but also with their team, and also helping to sponsor some of these teams. You'll see today that all the teams are playing in their Eagles jerseys. There's a fantastic Eagles Up activation zone for these young people to go and enjoy themselves, practice some of their skills, and really just have fun with the sport as well. So it's brilliant to see that the Eagles, as one of our NFL clubs, is engaging and also wanting to support the local community and help to offer these opportunities for young people as well.
Sunday's main event, the Flag All-Star Game, brought over 400 enthusiastic spectators to the turf. Sponsored by the Philadelphia Eagles as part of the NFL's Global Markets program, 6 outdoor teams battled it out, with Elite Sports United claiming a narrow 8-6 victory over the Cape Coast Predators.
They keep going, he gives a pass, and he goes, can you do? Wow, beautiful!
The day concluded with the Philadelphia Eagles watch party, where fans celebrated the Eagles' 28-3 victory over the New York Giants. For Joy Sports, Benaya Elom Dafiamepo.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now, national security chiefs are racing against time to find peace in the conflict-ravaged town of Bawku. that has seen recent insurrections or violence resulting in the loss of lives of 16 people 38 days from the 2024 general election. We explore the options for peace in this protracted conflict as the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs cautions against the politicization of the issue. We'll bring you details with our guests, but before that, let's listen to the Minister and what he had to say.
Bawku has been shaken by renewed clashes, forcing feuding factions back to the negotiation table in hopes of restoring peace. The unrest sparked by the controversial return of rival chief Seydou Abagri has led to the tragic loss of 16 lives in just a few days. Security chiefs are working to remove him to quell rising tensions. That's according to Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng.
In terms of how the rival chief ended up in Bawku, I'll leave that to security agencies to answer that. It's unfortunate he did. It's something that we have to find answers to and also to try and deal with it, because his very presence is creating the problems. And indeed, as you read from the statement yesterday, it's causing a lot of unrest and unease and tension. So let's, as I said, leave that to security agencies.
The government has also enhanced security in Bawku, increasing police and military presence and initiating a strict curfew to curb further violence.
The government yesterday released a press statement that declared a curfew in the Bawku area due to the substantial threat to public safety and security. Government is guided by its responsibility to protect lives and property, and above all, to enforce law and order to restore normalcy as quickly as possible.
The Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng also disclosed that eminent chiefs led by Asantehene Otumfuo Saitutu II are mediating between the factions who are currently cooperating.
From the role of the key personalities who are helping to resolve, indeed, you recall that the government has requested Otumfuo the Asantehene to take sole responsibility in terms of negotiating and discussing and bringing this whole thing to some amicable solution. And he's been doing that. It's not just because of this incident. I know he's called them severally to Mentia. I know he's in touch. And indeed, just recently, for the past 3 or 4 days, we have been talking to him and he's talking to them, and indeed that is going down well.
There's also the race against time to end the negotiations before the elections.
We cannot afford a long dragging out of this conflict into the election period. Don't forget that election itself brings tension anyway, and so you don't want to add the Bawku matter to it, so we better deal with it quickly. Don't also forget that we also have the little matter of our northern border. It's not a little matter, it's a big matter, but that's also something we keep an eye on. So you don't want Bawku matter to drag for too long. And both factions are aware of this. They're aware of the election implications. They're aware of the attempt by the jihadists in the Burkina Faso end. So when we talk to them, they're all conscious of the sanctity of our boundaries and our borders.
Mr. Asamoah Boateng once again appealed directly to the youth in Bawku, imploring them to abstain from provocative actions to support the peace process.
To my brothers and sisters in Bawku area, and that's why I'm wearing the hat. Normally I don't, but today I decided to do that. I'm addressing you, my brothers and sisters in the Bawku area, and wherever you find yourself, please reach out to your neighbor. Bridge the divide that separates you and build a future where peace reigns supreme. You have lived together peacefully in the past. You have intermarried and produced children of parentage from all sides. I plead with you to take a step back from these seemingly provocative happenings, and show exceptional love to yourselves. For you are one people, as we are all one people in this country, working hard to better our lives.
For Joy News, Mamisi Nyamiche Thompson.
So that is the situation. Let me introduce the guests to you, and we shall kickstart the conversation. Of course, my own in-house guest, Sweetie Abochi, is on hand. But we also have Maxwell Agambilla. He's a lawyer. He joins the conversation. Maxwell, good morning.
Good morning.
And we also have lawyer Dauda Jawara Salifu. He is spokesperson as well. He's also a lawyer. He's spokesperson. He will speak.
I speak also for the Bawku Naba.
Yes, of course. You are spokesperson for the Bawku Naba. He will speak for the Mamprusi end of things, and lawyer Agambilla will speak for the Kusasi end of things. Not necessarily that they are here to tussle, but they are here to reflect what is happening on the ground. We also have security consultant providing bespoke services. I'm talking about none other than Professor Kwesi Inning, who joins the conversation. Prof, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
So very quickly, let's start with you, Prof. This is not an issue that is just rearing its head. It's been with us for decades, some point to 1931. What do you make of this recent resurgence, and how do you think we got here?
Well, what we're experiencing right now has not come as a surprise, and will neither be the last time we experience this. Let me locate my comments within the context of the role of the Republic of Ghana. I want to make it short and not go into a long historical analysis. I think my two legal colleagues there can do that very well. You know, when the state and its institutions that must be neutral arbiters in a conflict, but fails consistently over time to be seen as a neutral arbiter, then its capacity to negotiate, to mediate, and to bring the contesting parties or the antagonistic parties around the negotiating table, thrash out, agree on the way forward, in a manner that sides feel that they are agreed with and can accept the agreement. Then the crisis over time becomes intractable. The state has played a role in what? If you remember, I think my colleague in the studio was specific in terms of state. But sometime around early 23, thereabout, the Republic of Ghana stepped very late. That also raised questions about the presence of the state in Nalerigu when there was this thing to send another chief into Bawku. That process has continued, or the contestation around the process has whether another of royals.
Prof, we are losing you briefly. I would just want you to reposition briefly and then speak up for me. Usually we have some challenges.
So, because we didn't resolve decisively the processes and procedures for succession, for the enthronement, all those technical processes, we experienced this issue I'm talking about where another person wanted to enter Bawku and claim the Nabashi. The Republic of Ghana intervened almost at the 23rd hour. And we remember the statements of the hardliners around this individual, that they were ready to fight, they would march on to Bawku. But that case exposed the role of the state, the police, intelligence, local government, all those people who ought to have picked the signals. The problem is, did they pick the signals? Were their concerns and early warnings sent to Accra? Did Accra overlook it and only intervened when it realized it was becoming problematic? That failure to act decisively.
And that would be an intelligence. That would be an intelligence failure, right? That's what you're pointing to.
That would have been a monumental intelligence failure.
Okay.
Although the intelligence people claim they did their work, the information was sent to Accra and they escalated their concerns as the developments in Nana Lerugu continued. This individual has eventually entered Bawku. Now, that journey couldn't have been a journey that the security agencies did not know about. That their intelligence did not take. So when we get different versions of the story as to how the situation must be resolved. And yesterday I listened to the Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs, Atame Institute, I think he's called, linking the resolution of this crisis to the election. That even out there. Because
that will be what? That will be what?
Right. That compounds.
That compounds the problem.
Compounds the problem, yes. Because you've given an indication that your interest in resolving this crisis is time bound. You want to get it done before the elections by all means. And after the elections, come what may, it will not be of national interest anymore. Okay. That allows the competing parties then to calculate what their best actions are before and after the election. So the state, I think, consistently over time has failed to play its mediating and, where necessary, its enforcement role. And therein lies the intractable nature of this conflict that we are seeing.
Okay. Thank you, Prof, for situating the conversation in that context. I see a number of you, whenever we have these discussions, a number of you from the different sides, the different factions will get very passionate about it. It's understandable, but relax, calm down. I see some of your comments, and already you are, and I would also like to say, gentlemen, that as you address both sides of the chieftaincy divide, including the chiefs themselves, that you address them respectfully, no matter what. Just address them properly to avoid any further escalation. I mentioned to them before coming on air that their comments here could lead to either calm on the ground, not here in the studio, on the ground, or tension, so they should watch it. Before Sweetie Abochi takes over, I'm curious, I wanted to find out from both of you, what do you know in terms of the historicity, the history of this bid? Just briefly, I want you to situate it for us, and then Sweetie Abochi will take over in terms of how we want to start. I'll start with you, Maxwell, in about 2 minutes, max. Why all this, the history of it? What do you know?
Well, good morning once again. The history of what is happening in Bawku is pretty simple and straightforward. It's an accident of colonial history that has brought us to where we are And that is what is making our brothers on the other side continue to attempt to do what they are doing. And it is that the Kusasi people historically are an acephalous group of people, which means that we were historically organized around the Tindana system. The Mamprisis on the other side had this unitary system, much like the Akan people, or the Ashantis. So they were usually organized around one chief. Now, they are also historically a trading people, whilst we are farmers. So the history has it that in time past, they used to trade, you know, their homeland is around the northeastern belt, Nalerigu, Gambaga area. So they used to trade up to Tinkudugu, Wagadugu, which is present-day Burkina Faso. And that, when they were passing through the Bawku area, robbers waylaid them and took their wares. So in time, the Nairi at the time put something resembling, you can call it today a police post, in order to protect their trade route. And because they already had chieftaincy in that form, he would usually select one of his sons to come and be leader of his people. And then, cut a long story short, came colonialism, where the white man needed to use indirect rule to govern. So anytime he got to a place, he would say, look, where's the chief? Then they would point to him and say, there's the chief. So when he came to our side, he had, before he got to the northern part, of course, he had seen chiefs in Ashanti, although Ashanti wasn't really part of the colonial setup. He had gone to Yendi, the Tamale area, and seen Ayana. He had gone to the Mamprusi area and seen a Nairi. So when he came into our area, most of Upper East ethnic groups are historically acephalous. You can talk about the Gorone people, the Nabdams, the Talensis, and we, the Kusasis. We have always been an acephalous group of people. So when he got there, he said he was looking for a chief. We didn't understand what chiefs were. We had what we call Tindana. So everybody will say, if you are looking for a chief, these are the people who say they have a chief. So then the white man decides to use him to govern. Otherwise, until the white man came, there was never a time where the leader of the Mamprisi community in Bawku exerted any form of authority on the indigents of the place. It was indirect rule that brought about those things. So then the chief now had power, with the help of the white man, to exert taxes, to command people to do communal labor and all of that.
So per your understanding, this is a vestige of colonialism?
Yes, completely.
And a misunderstanding
entirely
of between,
yes,
you know, the understanding of a chief and a Tindana, because
fantastic.
you had Tindana,
yes.
you didn't have
yes.
That's
maybe if we were allowed to develop, naturally our chiefs would have evolved to become what we know as chiefs today.
Okay.
And that is why at independence, the Kusasi people said, no, we cannot allow this to continue to happen.
Okay.
Indeed, and I'm happy my good brother is here. There is no single Mamprisi man who tells you that the Bawku land is for them. What they say is that they founded the chieftaincy.
Okay.
Because chieftaincy and land are intertwined. Because it comes with certain practices, norms, and cultures and stuff like that. So if you cannot placate the land, it means you don't own the land. The four corners of the Bawku area and the Kusasi area in general belong to the Kusasi people.
Okay.
And I have ample evidence to demonstrate that to you, if given the opportunity.
All right. So let's hold it here. I think you've exhausted your 2 minutes. Let me come to Dauda. You speak for the Mamprusi side. What do you know about the history of this conflict?
Well, good morning to viewers. You know, if we want to talk about the history of Bawku and who founded Bawku, we would not have enough time to go through this. But obviously, Bawku was not founded during the coming in of the white man. I mean, historically, Bawku was founded somewhere in the 1760-something by the Mamprusis. And part of what my brother Maxwell is saying is true, but part of it is just the Opoku Afaris committee report, where you pick all those ones, do some of, you know, those things, piece them together to make a narrative look good.
Okay.
Chieftaincy started way, I mean, in Ghana, when you talk about the history of the North, you talk about Nagbewa, in Pusiga. If you trace the lineage of the Mamprusis, the Dagombes, the Nanumbes, it is through Nagbewa. Nagbewa founded Pusga. Pusga is 20 minutes drive from Bawku. Right. He rightly says that a trading post was founded by the Nairi's son to stop. And you see, I don't like this narrative that goes on that Kusasis were waylaying.
No, I didn't say that.
No, that narrative is there.
I didn't say that.
When you were speaking, I didn't
No, I'm sorry, but I didn't say that. Just to put it on the record, that I didn't say Kusasis were those.
I think he said they were being waylaid.
They were being waylaid.
But not that
I didn't say Kusasis.
Yes, but the narrative is there. Honorable Hasbuka has said it several times. And you see, this has...
letters?
Yes, and this really has some form of effect in the banditry that is going on, that is still going on, where market women are going to market and it's still happening. They are being shot, killed, and they are... So the Kusasis, honestly, are not bad people. As some of our senior Kusasi leaders would say, only to make the narrative sound good, that the Nairi's son came and then, well, you haven't given us any date when this so-called white man came and then picked up a Mampusi man and said, I'm going to make you a chief. You have equally said that you, the Kusasis, were never chiefs until 1957 when Nkrumah regime and the Governor General put up the Ofori...
Can I give you the date?
He said they had the...
Can I give you the date?
He said they had their Tindanes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which date are you talking of? When the imperial...
So let me give him the date. And I am happy, Professor Ini...
I'm sorry I'm interjecting.
Sorry. I'm happy... Professor,
just give us the date.
Professor Ini even mentioned it. In 1932...
I haven't... It is my time. Okay, when you were speaking...
I understand. Already the extension...
Okay, you go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dauda.
If you want to go to... Yes, Professor Eni mentioned 1932. I started with the 1731.
Right.
When the first Mampusi prince came down to Bawku. Bawku means a valley. Okay, and Bawku was named by Mampusis. When they came...
In which language?
In Mampurli.
Okay.
You see, it has now turned to Bawku, as in B-A-U-K. It's Bawku. It's a valley. When they came there, you have alluded that when they came and set up the trading post there, the whole place was uninhabited.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, well, I'm telling you that the whole place was inhabited.
I said he set up something.
And then it was to aid the trade.
So you can note down the points.
It was to aid the trade route between Bawku, Tinkodowo, through to Gambaga, to the south. The Moses were there. I can tell you for a fact that even the Moses settled in the Bawku area before the Kusasis. And let me go back to 1931. In 1931, Bawku had a Mampusi chief. There were 18 cantons. All had their chiefs. Maxwell comes from Zebila. Zebila is not Bawku. Kuziga is not Bawku. Binduri is not Bawku. Tili is not Bawku. There is no Mampusi man who has ever gone to Zebila to go and say that I want to be the chief of Zebila. The chief of Zebilas have always been Kusasis because those are Kusasi areas. Mampusi areas, we had Sinimbaga, we had Gombo, we had Tili, we had Teshin. Tili and Teshin are closer to Zebila. In 1931, all these 18 cantons had their chiefs. It was when the white man came in 1932 and tried to introduce the indirect system of rule that they said that, look, we want a head chief. And that was where the Bawku Naba, who was then a Mampusi, was elected as a head chief. But that didn't even give him control over the Kusasi areas.
Okay.
The whole of
just for clarity,
yes.
When you say the Kusasi areas, where the Tindanas were, is that what you're referencing? Clarify for me.
Good. Let me tell you something. This word Tindana has been misused. You see, the Tindanas were like Okonfo, like what we have here, the Wulomos and the Okonfos. They pacify the gods.
Okay.
That is the role that they play. Subsequently,
like fetish priest?
Yes, a fetish priest. That is what the Tindana is. So you see, when you want evidence of who owns a certain land, even within the Kusasis, the Tindana is a credible witness. He will tell you this family owns this land. This family owns this land. That is what he does. But he pacifies the gods.
Okay.
And then we have the grooves where the Tindanas actually go and do that. Tindanas do not own land.
Quick, and that was exactly what I was about to ask you. Did the Tindanas at the time have ownership of land? And I ask it in respect of what today, in our land law, right?
Yes.
We know the role is of maybe a Tindana. That, I just want you to clarify that.
Yes. The Tindanas never owned any land in Bawku.
Okay.
The Tindanas never owned any land in Bawku.
Okay.
If the lands were uninhabited, how did the Tindanas own the land?
Okay, so wrap up so I bring in Maxwell.
So I am saying that, so in 1932,
will bring in Maxwell.
So in 1932, then the colonial government said that we need a head chief. So the divisional chief of Bawku, who was enskinned, Hitetu, had been enskinned by the Nairi. There's no doubt about that. You go into the histories, the map of colonial Ghana, you would realize that the whole area was called Mampusi District or Mampusi State. And we have co-lived together. We have. So the Kusasis in 1932, they had a chief called Kusanaba Ayebo. He knows that. Kusanaba Ayebo was enskinned as a Kusasi chief, and he had his territory. No Mampusi had ever gone there to go and, disturb him or try to take his land or whatever it is. So, moving forward in the history to 1958, 1957, 1954, the current Bawku Naba's father, Aburago Azoka, petitioned the Governor General and said that his family owned all the lands in the Kusasi area. That is not the truth.
Okay, and that is what has eventually...
And that is what has led, had led to the Opoku Afari Commission, and then subsequently the Governor General had, made a decision. In fact, he had unilaterally even varied to say that if you are a Kusasi chief, then it is interchangeably with a Bawku chief. Okay. And that is what has gotten us.
Thank you for the situation, Sweetie.
I mean, Mr. Agambilla has some reflections.
Yes.
So you think there are some gaps? Or
yes, I mean, huge gaps.
Briefly,
but yes, I'll be as brief as I can.
Gaps.
Look, my brother says that the Mampusi is named Bawku, and he says that the actual meaning of Bawku is Bawku. What it means in Mampuli is the same. It has the same meaning in Kusal.
Valley,
yes. Because if he sees a valley, he says Bawku. It's the same. He cannot deny that. Number two, I am from the north, but I live here.
That makes things complicated.
You
don't know which.
No, but we are not going to fight over name. But I'm saying that we are.
But the name is important.
No. Because there are some other indicators that we can use to determine the matter, other than the name.
That is true.
And I'm simply saying that we are. I believe none of us is gone here. We've all come as sergeants here to do business. I know communities in this Accra which have all manner of names. I mean, settlers come and they name it. Does that make it their land? Is it not Ghana land? If you go to Zongo, Abuso Kai Zongo, they call the place Zongo. Is it not Ghana land? But it's people from all walks of life who have come and named the Zongo. They have East Legon Hills, Trazakwe, and all that. Those are not Ga names. But is that not Ga land? Number two, let me simplify this issue of always trying to, segregate Bawku from Kusasi. We are fighting an identity matter. When he mentioned the history of Nagbewa, he says that, look, Nagbewa is a father of Mamprusis, Dagumbes, Nanumbes. So who are we? Don't we have an identity? In any case, you know that chieftaincy is not a creature of statutes. So if you are a paramount chief of an area, you are by law the president of a traditional council with divisions under you. I am from Zebila, as he rightly put it. My Zebila chief is a divisional chief. What he means to say is that if today, by any stroke of misfortune, a Mamprusi man is chief of Bawku, and the Zebila seat falls vacant and I want to contest, what he's trying to say is that I would have to go to a Mamprusi man to be skinned. Where does it happen in this world? Tell me.
Okay, so that's the conflict, or the historical context of where we are. We need to move the conversation.
Yes, we'll know, but let me just I'll clarify a few things. Yes, you see, the reason why in 1932, when they were looking for a leader, the rest, they chose the Bawku chief at the time, was obvious because Bawku was the center. The white man had come to settle there. That is where all the offices were, district assembly. That's where you could access government business.
But it was an election.
Oh, but you know that
it was an election.
All
the 18 canton.
So when you didn't like his interjecting you, so you can just let him land it.
No, I'm just giving.
The point I'm making is that it was an election that was predetermined. Because yes, of course.
It was an election.
No. I've never said it wasn't. And look, there's no Kusasi man who has ever said that you didn't have chieftaincy in the time past.
Who are those who participated in this election?
Oh, a number of chiefs. I have their list here. I can name them for you. But about 18 of them participated in the election. It was a contest between the then Bawku Naba, who was a Mamprusi man, and then the chief of Kosanaba, Kosanab Yep. They were the contestants.
Okay.
Yeah, but in Kusal, we call them
Kosanab. So these were the 18 cantons that he spoke of?
Yes.
Okay.
But of course, Bawku was the center.
Okay.
So it made sense that everybody you can't take the headship and go to the outskirts.
At Bawku, all the 18 canton chiefs were at par. They were level. Nobody was higher.
Can I finish? And that is why I am saying
these are the gaps and inconsistencies that's causing the conflict.
Yes.
The understanding one person has of what should be.
But the simplicity of it is that he agrees that Bawku now is a paramountcy. He has 25 divisions under it, all of who are Kusasi men. What they are trying to do is to say that, let me be chief over you. And I don't want to go into social media wahala, but I have people who say all the time.
For them, that is not fair.
No. I'm saying that
You are here to speak, so you will do that. Yes. But let him. He says don't speak for them, so speak for yourself.
Otherwise, if they were saying that, look, we have inskilled somebody to be chief of a Mamprusi, I am a Kusasi man, I live in Accra. We have chiefs in Accra, Kusasi chiefs. We don't interfere or we don't attempt to assert control over Ga land or Ga authority.
Okay.
So if they were to say that, look, we have a sizable population in Bawku, we want one of our own to, take care of us and our affairs, I don't think that we'll be fighting. Because even we who have come from all that far and we are in Accra, we have Mamprusi chiefs in Accra.
So are you done with your points now?
Yeah,
yes,
I think that's it. So since 1932 thereabouts, that's all this started. Mr. Agambilla, how is this affecting the people? Now, obviously, both communities are well represented. And so to speak, we have two leaders, right? And so 4 or 5 days ago, when Malaji Seidu entered the township, that started all this again. What has been the effect on this long-standing conflict on the people of Mamprusi?
Of Kusasi.
And then I'll come to you. So let's talk about the effects of this conflict, this disagreement, what it is, what it's not, the effects of the people. They say when two elephants are fighting, it's the ground or the grass that suffers.
The effect of it is obvious, that we, all of us, across the world, we have succeeded in endangering our lives for nothing. And
nothing?
Yes, because it's needless.
Did you just say across the world?
Yes.
So Mamprusis and Kusasis and different parts
it's now across the world.
I see.
I'm telling you, although we live in Accra, But you cannot be too sure. I have a very good friend in Bolga. Bolga is not part of Bawku. They went to his house and shot him at night. All because of the conflict.
The two of you sitting here, you realize you are brothers. And I'm sure if let's say you were in a different jurisdiction, let's say you were both in some other country, and he was in need, you would help him, right? And if he was in need, you would help him.
Oh, but even if I see him in Bawku and he's in need, I'll help him. That's my nature. I don't need to see him in a different jurisdiction. I'm saying that here at Circle, the area down here, there were gunshots recently. Somebody lost his life. We had to engage regional police commander. We even had a regional security meeting where the present interior minister, he chaired that meeting to try to resolve us. So we have managed needlessly to export the conflict across the globe. So anywhere you are, you cannot be certain. And I continue to say that it is completely needless because we all knew where we were going to. The Bawku conflict, in my own honest and respectful view, is not complicated at all. We have brought this upon ourselves to use taxpayers' money that we don't have to maintain peace. About a month or two ago, we were on your network, talking about 18 million that is doled out to national security every quarter in order to maintain peace in Bawku.
I think Mama Yarga said it was 6 million every month.
Yeah, so every quarter. Because of what? When we all knew what was happening. Government has a very firm position on this matter.
All right. So
yet we have allowed it to fester.
So loss of lives.
Loss of lives.
That conflict across the world.
Now, BEC results have been released. If you hear the grades of students in Bawku, you would marvel. They get things like no two numbers, 52, 48. That is the consequence of the conflict.
So you do understand the effect of this. So let's hear from him as well.
Well, he has mentioned the question that you asked, the effect. I would tell you that that effect that he's talking about doesn't affect his people in Zebila.
Which specific effect are you talking about?
Yes, the question that the loss of lives, businesses, and all that. It doesn't affect his people in Zebila. It doesn't affect some Kusasis in Garu. It doesn't affect... me sitting down here, I can tell you that every single time there is any gunshots that goes on in Bawku, I lose a family member.
I'm sorry to ask, but does it affect the people in Wale Wale?
Hold on, please. Hold on. Please. When you were speaking, I didn't.
Okay, all right.
Hold. Let's.
In the very last 3 days, I had to bury a cousin. Most of my family members have lost their lives, lost their businesses. Ask him, has he got any investment in Bawku? So you see, let's situate Bawku in the municipality, and that is where the problem is.
Let's do that, because initially you mentioned that whether it is Pusiga, it is Zebila, it is not Bawku proper, right?
Exactly.
You mentioned, when you were mentioning his, and I guess that would reflect on you as well. So then let's not bring in that conversation. Let's
if you don't have any business, okay, your children are not, your family members or your children are not in the Bawku municipality, you still have education. Let me tell you, the Presbyterian Hospital, as we speak, during the conflict, there was no any doctor there to treat the wounded people. They were dying there. There was only a medical, what they call medical assistant. There. Businesses have closed. Alaji Mumunibo Naba, very nice man, the NDC chairman, was a very big businessman. He has closed down his shops. People's shops have been burnt. So, if we really want to deal with the situation in Bawku, let's narrow it down to the municipality where all these atrocities are going on. Where market women leave Bawku and they go to other markets and their wares have been, burnt and they are beaten up. People are driving from Bolga to Bawku on market days and they are stopped in the middle of the road and they are shot. So tell me, if you do this in your enclave, you should expect the same thing to be done in the Mampusi areas. You see, this Bawku conflict, it didn't have anything to do with Wale Wale, the wider Mampurugu area or the wider Kusasi area. It has escalated to this point. Let me tell you, I have so many friends who are Kusasis.
Right.
The secondary school are going to Maxwell.
I have told you, most of my friends, seniors, we had Bawku Students Union. Now the Kusasis, for whatever document it is, they are creating a kingdom. Look, I want to put it on authority.
On record.
On record. That the Mampusis do not have a problem with Kusasis having a kingdom. Never. The Mampusis do not have a problem with Kusasis having their overlord, the Zugurana. Just as the way the Kusasis say they want self-determination, the Mampusis should not be stopped from having their own traditional customs and values.
Okay, let me quickly interject with this. I will bring in Professor Kwesi Enning, but before I do, I want to ask you this question because the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, as Honorable Asamoah Boateng, made a point. He says, I'll leave it to security operatives how the rival chief ended up in Bawku, talking about the security situation and how this happened. Professor Enning, who will be coming in shortly, also made mention of that was the trigger for the latest insurgence or conflict.
Yes.
I want to find out, in the grand scheme of things, was it necessary to bring Seydou Abagli back into Bawku at this time? What will be your quick reaction before I bring in Professor Enning?
Well, you see, with Nasherga, I call him Nasherga.
Okay.
There was an arrest warrant that was issued by the government to arrest the Nayiri, the elders of the Nayiri, and Nasherga for performing a customary duty.
Which is what?
Installing the Bawku Naba, Nasherga. Now, that arrest warrant was actually going to be effected, but for the vigilance of the Mampugu youth. Subsequently, the government came and varied it. I remember even the Honorable MP for Zebila, Honorable Cletus Avoka, condemning that it was not right for the government to have issued an arrest warrant for the old man. That was not the way to go about it. Then they subsequently went to vary the arrest warrant, and then took out the Nayiri and his elders, leaving Nasherga. For almost 1.5 years now, we had been battling this in court. 3 weeks ago, the Court of Appeal made a decision and said that the arrest warrant was illegal. Nasherga stayed away from Bawku on our advice that let's wait and hear what the court would say. The court had decided. There was nothing that stopped him from going to Bawku. From the period that the decision of the Court of Appeal was taken till the time that he went to Bawku, no state agency had tried to meet with us to say, okay, now that this matter is outside the courts, what is the way forward?
So there were lapses, but there was also not engagement with the
state. And then you see what the state did was to go and appeal, to file an appeal.
Okay. Okay.
Let me just make one point. Nasherga is
I'll come to you. That's why I say note down.
Nasherga is a head of family. Right. Apart from he being enskined by the Nayiri, he's an old man. He has his household, and he had been living outside Bawku for a very long time. He needed to go back home to go and see his family. Okay. There was no law that was stopping him from going back.
Thank you for making that point.
But you see, there was a threat by the Kusasis that anytime Nasherga steps foot in Bawku, there will be bloodshed. And that was what happened.
Okay. Unsubstantiated. I can't, but can I, before Prof comes in, I just want to read these two comments because they situate. Like you said, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. These two comments caught my attention. This one says, Liza says, okay, so it's actually not. Kofi Otre Dako says, I will plead with my brothers to let all of us live in peace with one another. Kusasis and Mampusis are brothers. And Nana Kwesi Grant Jr. says, I think the issue is bigger than what the two gentlemen are speaking of. Innocent inhabitants are being killed. Prof, having listened to both sides of the conversation, what do you make of it? You just heard Lawyer Dauda as well talking about the fact that, legally speaking, there was nothing stopping Seidu Abagli from getting back into Bawku. Professor Enning, if you're there.
Unmute, maybe?
Hello, Professor Enning. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll try to get Professor Enning back.
But I find it interesting, Dauda, that you're saying that the effects that we all, experience in the loss of lives, property, businesses, effect on education and all that doesn't affect them. And you wanted to respond to these issues.
Let's
get into that.
I have said it a number of times. Let me say it for the last time. This attempt by our brothers to segregate Kusasi people is not tenable, with respect. So what they do is that they try to distinguish the Kusasis of Bawku from the Kusasis in the other Kusasi areas. I have said here that our fight is a fight of identity.
Okay. Please hold on this thought for me, just for a second. Let's go back to Prof. Enning. We were trying to connect.
We lost him briefly, so let's get back to him. When we come, you'll continue with your train of thought.
Prof? I think that's not a good sound to hear. I think we just lost Prof again. But as and when he comes, we'd have to take his views on this as well. So
I get.
Please go on.
So the point I was trying to make is that our fight is one of identity. Now, I don't know whether in the media you have heard anywhere that any Mamprisi man is being killed in Zebila, although there are Mamprisi people living there. Just recently, when this issue erupted, they just stopped cars in Wale Wale. They would pull people out, ask for your ID cards. If your name sounds Kusal, they shoot you. They kill you. I have videos of people who were brutally murdered.
Are you talking of the incident on the...
Right now, just about 2-3 days ago. We have pictures. I can show you gory pictures. At least, unfortunate as it is, the Kusasis have confined the conflict in the Kusasi area. Why are people being killed in Wale Wale? If you check transport with the transport operators, they will tell you that buses are not moving from Accra to Bolga because you would have to pass through Wale Wale and you'll be stopped and killed. You can check from the bus stations here in Accra here. Right. In Kumasi, it's the same thing. That's one. The second issue that he continues to say about this founding and that the fact that Tendanas don't own land. Just ask my big brother here what the meaning of Tendana is. Tendana means landowner. Boss, I lie.
What does he said that's chief priest.
In fact, in Kusal, in Kusal, it's actually Tengendan. Tengendan means landowner. He's the one who placates the gods. He's the one who placates the land.
And that's what...
If there's something wrong, is there some... So he's the embodiment of the soul of the land. That is what Tengendan means.
Do you know what? I'm seeing a certain trend. And I must say this, that if we don't deal with some of these issues, this may be intractable. You know why?
Yes, sir.
Because if we want to play on the words and play on the meanings and everything, I think he can justify his point. You can justify your point. I think there must be some seeding. That is what negotiations are about.
That is why I simplify it all the time. I say that, look, we can put all of this Commission of Inquiry report. We have a Court of Appeal judgment, which was delivered by the highest court of the land at the time in 1958, led by the Chief Justice at the time, Seyaku Kosa. We have a Court of Appeal judgment down to 2003, when they went to the Supreme Court, abandoned it. The Supreme Court said, don't come back again under Article 270, 277. We went to Damango for a peace accord. They all agreed that this is a roadmap. The current Bawku Naba is the legitimate chief. We all have to respect him. They reneged on that. Look, let's abandon all of that.
So just wrap on that point.
We can abandon all of that. All I'm saying is that, agreed, you were once chiefs of Bawku. And by extension, ruled over Kusasi people. The Kusasi people today say, in this 21st century, that it's a question of self-determination. We are no longer interested in your rule. Tell me here, where in this world you have seen one ethnic group so pretend over the other.
Okay, point made. Professor Enning, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
I hope you followed the conversation from the angles that both of them. Have you been able to follow all of it?
Well, I followed the historical analysis, but I think they've made 2 points that I want to emphasize.
Go ahead.
That I think gives us hope. One was the point that, irrespective of where they are, these two lawyers from the two feuding parties will be willing to stretch a hand to support, protect, and help each other. That is a basis for building the new relationship that we are looking for. And that is the message that must be sent out. The second relates to the globalized nature of the conflict right now. But even more disturbingly, the increasingly organized criminal underpinnings of the crisis. So I will have to leave you now because I'm at a public function now. But the crisis can be resolved, and I think the two gentlemen in the studio have given us cause for hope.
Prof, before you take leave of us, I know you have to go. Did we just lose Prof?
He's gone.
I would have wanted to find out what his roadmap would be to that piece. Because now there are so many things. Sweetie, we are contemplating. There's been talk about the Asantehene stepping in. There's been a curfew, imposed. Hold for me. There's been talk of a state of emergency. Some say that would be extreme. And how many days to election? Some 30-something days. Some say this could even end up disenfranchising people within that community if there's a state of emergency.
Should affect both of them.
Look, how do we get to the bottom of this? Also, let me add the role of politics in there.
Yes.
And it is clear that there is also an NPP-NDC angle to this. And I feel, because Professor Enning was mentioning it, I feel if we were able to even deal with the politics and get it out of the situation, we'd go very far. I don't know what you think, gentlemen. You were about to make a point. I'll let you make it so that Dauda will also come in with his point.
He has been all over the place. He has been all over the place. I have not even rebutted to
all of the. Can I finish?
Let him just conclude.
All of
you come in and rebut.
So I was at the point where I was saying that these issues are simple. We are Kusasi people. We say we are entitled inherently. It's our God-given right to determine who our leader will be on our land.
Okay.
Do you see my point?
When you say your land...
The Kusasi area, it is that land, that whole enclave has been variously described as Kusasi area for centuries.
Okay.
There's a Mamprusi area. It's in Northeast. Nobody contests that with anybody. When you go to a land that belongs to a group of people, the demographic characteristics alone will show you. So we have never intended, and we have never asked to go to Mamprusi land and lord it over them. So let it not be done to us. Sure. It's as simple as that. We can put all this Nagbewa history. As for founding, why? When we went to school, they taught us that Diego de Azambuja discovered Africa, or something of that nature. Does it mean that he would come and pretend over all Africans? It doesn't work like that. Now, back to the point you are making about this whole curfew and the threat of disenfranchisement and all of that. I was born and I grew up in Bawku. That has been the modus of the security operatives from time immemorial. It doesn't just solve the situation. What is happening in Bawku, and people who don't know the history very well sometimes attempt to compare it with the unfortunate occurrence that happened in Dagbon, where two brothers, two people from the same stock. So theirs is some rotational system.
You will have to wrap.
Yes, I'll wrap up.
So that Dauda can come.
Yes, where two brothers are fighting, that is my turn. This one says it's my turn. So then there's a conflict and there's a confusion. You need to sit around the table and negotiate and all of that. In our case, the situation is simple and straightforward. I am a Kusasi man. He's a Mamprusi man. Everybody knows. I can give you a litany of events that led us to where we are now. And it all happened in the full glare of the public. When this Court of Appeal rescinded the arrest warrant, I went to the Attorney General. I told him that if you people don't take action, there will be carnage in Bawku. They told me that, the security on top of the situation. There are security men there.
Okay, very well.
So point made.
So very well. Maxwell here has just confirmed what I said, that if Nasherga gets into Bawku, there will be carnage. And he went to the Attorney General to actually warn him, and it happened. So you know where this carnage is coming from. He has just confirmed this. But let's leave that aside. You see, when it's convenient for the Kusasis, they say, oh, history is not good. History, we should forget about history. We should forget about Nagbewa. No. The Ashantis pride in history. The Gans pride in history. I mean, you can't do without history. So don't say that, oh, history is this, history is not good, and the history that we are giving. But it is through the history that we trace who the owners of Bawku were. And I'm telling you that Bawku was founded by the Mampusis.
But even when we talk about history, whether from his end or your end, it would be about the accuracy of the account, not about...
Exactly.
Ask him if he's talking about
which side.
Ask him if he's talking about Bawku chieftaincy or Bawku land. Oh no, just to clear that. I beg you. It's just to ask him.
Please.
Did they found Bawku chieftaincy or Bawku land? That's all.
Please.
I beg you.
When you were talking, Maxwell, let's
Maxwell,
have a
keep it that way.
discussion.
But is that something you'd like to address? Is that what he just said? Is there something you'd like to address?
Even in their own Siam, Opoku Afari Committee report, it indicated that the Mampusis came to Bawku and founded an uninhabited land. Where were you?
Show me.
Who was the Kusasi man who walked on?
You have to let him make his point, and then we come back.
Who was the Kusasi man who was in Bawku at that time, that when the Mampusis came, they said, this is the land, I'm giving the land, this is my land, I'm giving the land to you. Is it in your history? Can you mention, look, the current Bawku Naba, as he speaks, as he sits, his family came to Bawku in 1934. And when his father came to Bawku in 1934, he was hosted by the Mampusi prince, Yirmia. The only reason why the current Bawku Naba's father was even accorded any form of audience by the Governor General was because he had lived with the Kusasis, the Mampusis, and had learned the tradition of chieftaincy. So during Nkrumah's time, it was very convenient for the Nkrumah to deal with the Northern People's Party, who were his foes, and then went straight ahead and then had this committee. Let me tell you, what did the governor, you see, what they are relying on is the decision of the Governor General, who had the power at that time to vary and say that once you are a chief of Kusasi, automatically you are the chief of Bawku.
Mr. Salifu, in truth, we understand that
yes,
there needs to be a point of convergence
exactly
for both of you. So the question to you, both gentlemen, and hopefully everyone watching us who's on both sides, are there mutual interest or a common goal, or even a way to bring... What is the role of the traditional leaders, really, in terms of looking for mutual ground or common interest where we can find elements to build on so that we get peace?
Yes.
We have 38 days to go.
And you see, that is so. The minister mentioned the Otumfuo's role in all this. I have been to the Otumfuo's palace and I've sat in 3 times. And I've heard wise counsel. We have presented our documents and everything. The roadmap is still going on. But we said that stop the killings. Stop the brutality. Let the wise men deal with the issues.
But when you talk of it, there have been killings perpetrated by both sides, right?
See, if you know the dynamics of Bawku, Bawku, yes, is surrounded around by Kusasis. When the gunshot starts, it starts everywhere, from all corners. It doesn't spare whether you are a Gan, you are a Hausa, you are a Mosi. So in the fight, you find Mosis in Bawku fighting. You find Mosis, Hausas fighting. They are not fighting for chieftaincy. They are fighting for their lives. And I told the IGP the last time we met in Bawku, and the security chiefs, I said that, look, Bawku, in the municipality, Bawku people are business people. They don't joke with their money. So for you to find a young man to go and buy an AK-47 or a G3 for 60,000 or 80,000 cedis, you have to question why. But that young man has that gun to defend his family. You will not sit down for somebody to callously come and murder you. Now, let me also say this.
Are there common interests that we can
yes, there are
explore?
common interests. Let me tell you what the common interest is. The Bawku Naba, as he speaks. Me, as a Mampusi, I'm even more related to him than Maxwell sitting here. Ask me why. The Bawku Naba's sister married my uncle. So my cousin, who is a Mampusi, calls the Bawku Naba his uncle. So there are intermarriages. As I sit here, Mama Yarges...
Which is actually a very good thing.
Yes. So let's say that if we were dealing with the matrimonial system, a Mampusi would have actually, what they are talking about, Mampusi, that Bawku Naba's nephew, would have been the one to succeed him. The Kusasis, as we speak, they don't even have a proper lineage. They don't have a succession system.
Oh, don't say that.
No, I mean, when I finish,
don't say that. But you see, and you should stop him there. Because you see, these are, no, I'm not defending anything. No, you don't need to give me ample time. Don't give me ample time.
Very well, I withdraw.
If you don't do that, you told us that. Yes, so that we don't escalate the tension.
I get the point.
This is the second time he's saying something that can easily guide.
I get the point you're making.
Yes, that's just all. I don't want you to say it so that I have to respond.
Okay, very well. It is not my business whether there is a lineage or not. But what I am... No, and I get...
So you've withdrawn.
I've withdrawn, yes.
When you say that you forced me to respond...
No, so I said that I have withdrawn, and that I think that I shouldn't...
Please, let's move it on.
Very well. But what I'm saying is that we can have a win-win situation in this matter.
And that's what we want to hear.
How do we get there?
I have spoken with Maxwell about the win-win situation. What we need to do is to get down to the realities of the times. He talks about the fact that we are in a modern state and the Kusasis cannot be subjected to some form of apartheid regime in Bawku and all those things. Well, I agree with you if you want to have self-determination for yourself. But in any case, you have never been subjected to that, whatever you say, by the Mampusis. The Mampusis have always respected the Kusasis. Like
I'm sorry, I have to do this because of time. You said you've discussed the roadmap, you've discussed whatever the solutions, the win-win strategy is. What is it? What is it?
So the win-win situation is that I would advise that the government tread cautiously with the rhetoric about going to arrest Nashega out of Bawku. That would create another issue.
You are talking of, please clarify, Nasherega being Seidu Abagli.
Exactly.
Okay.
You see, if you try that in Bawku, you are going to repeat what happened with the arrest that was going to take place at the Nairi, when they tried that at the Nairi, and it wasn't a joke. We need to have a peaceful way of dealing with this situation.
You don't think that the methodology, the approach we've been using
the issue is that
nearly 6 million is pumped, it's not going anywhere.
The 6 million that Mama Yarga talked about, the 6 million that Mama Yarga talked about, I haven't seen the figures. Okay, the National Security Coordinator should be the person to tell us that this is what I spent on this. I know that they've been giving some chiefs money here and there in the Bawku area. They've been giving them largesse. So that is also part of
you understand.
No.
When he's making very,
he's not directed at the National Security.
He say something that will make him respond.
He's not mentioned. This is directed. This is even directed at the National Security. Mama made his allegations, and I'm also making my allegations that one of their methods also was that part of the money they were giving out to chiefs to calm them down and calm their people down. So if they are doing their accounts, that is fair. But I'm saying that the win-win...
For you, there is a way to peace.
Yes, the win-win, and this is how it is. This is how it is.
We are concluding shortly.
I'm saying that, I'm saying that my people in Bawku should accept that we cannot go back to the colonial, before even the colonial days, if we think that we are going to lord over the Kusasis.
All right.
Also, the Kusasis should also know that our traditions and customs are different from Kusasi traditions and customs. They cannot also lord over us.
Okay.
So this is my proposal to me.
Let's leave it there. Maxwell, I like the way he ended. He says they don't want to lord it over you, yes, and you are not going to lord it over them either.
Yes.
You have some quick responses. Let them be brief, and then
I'll try.
What I want us to do at the end of this, lest I forget, when you are done, I'll give you
peace messages.
Exactly.
Yes. No.
I want both of you to address your different sides and leave us with a message.
But before we get to that point, you see, I'm happy my brother is a lawyer. He said that the Afari report made a point that Mampusis came to Bawku and found an uninhabited land. Fortunately, I have the report here. Whilst I respond to the things he says, I can give it to him. You should find me where the report says that.
The report is in my head.
We can do
no,
this.
but you show it to them.
You that you have a copy of it, and this is what you brandish about. I have it in my head.
Agambilla, what's your response to his proposal for a win-win?
No, but he has said many things that I need to respond before I come
so
to the win-win thing.
But I haven't even responded to all that you have said. So I don't even know why he's responding.
In this matter, look, in this matter,
let's say you
we have been to see the president of Ghana, both sides. Everybody has been emphatic. The current Bokunaba and Zuguran of the Kusasi state has been there for 40 years. If you have a problem, there are institutions to go to. The president said that to them. The Nairi promised the president that he was going to go to court. Then they went to Otumfuo. Otumfuo said the same thing to them. In fact, Otumfuo added that, but you want to inskin, or you have gone to purport to inskin somebody. If you don't have power to deskin, you cannot have power to inskin. So once there's a chief there who has been gazetted, duly recognized as president of the Kusak Traditional Council, member and once president of the Upper East Traditional Council, member of the National House of Chiefs, you cannot just get up one day and say that I am inskinning a rival person as chief of the area. When you do that, you will plunge the area into chaos. They both told them. Every president in this Fourth Republic has told them that if you want to do something, go to court. Now they are asking us to go to court. In fact, they heeded the advice of President Kufuor. That's how they went to court in 2003. And what happened is that I have the ruling here. They went to court and saw that they had no case. So they pleaded to withdraw with liberty to reapply. He understands that. The court said, I grant you liberty to withdraw. But without liberty to reapply under Article 270, 277. Those are the chieftaincy articles in the Constitution.
Right.
Can I respond?
Once that happens, if you want to go and relitigate it, that's your business. But for a person to be there for 40 years and you just get up one day and say, look, I want to go and skin somebody to be chief, that is what has plunged us all into this.
Right.
Now, talking about the relationship, he says that, no, that's last point. Right. He says that he's related to the President Bokunaba. And by the way, it is not true that his father came to Bawku just in 1934. That is not true. They are the founders of a part of the Bawku in general, but specifically a part of Bawku called Widi. Widi is not a 1934 founding. He knows. Now, about the relationship, that will be my last point.
So
you see, it is true that the Mampusis of Bawku are very related to Kusasis. The reason is that, as I said to you at the beginning, when they came there, they established something resembling a police post for their trade. Now, it's only men who came. So they ended up marrying Kusasi women. 90% of them, their mothers are Kusasi women. Where did they find them from? When I was growing up in Bawku, in the 80s and early 90s, if you go there, and those are some of the demographic characteristics that you can use to show who owns the land or who is the original owner of the place. We spoke only 3 dialects in Bawku: Kusal, Hausa, and some Moshi. Ask anybody. Me, I never heard anybody speak Mampruli.
Okay. Very well. So I think your point
about his win-win. About his win-win.
We are not.
That one is good.
Maxwell, I think we've done enough. We've done enough. Dauda.
Yes.
We are moving to the peace messages. We have to conclude this.
Well, I thought I could rebut on the Supreme Court.
If we want to rebut, you will rebut.
But
you will rebut. And
yes,
will not end
but just a point. Just a point. You see, we get it wrong when you say you went to the Supreme and there's a Supreme Court ruling. What happened at the Supreme Court? You and I know that the Supreme Court has 2 jurisdictions: original and appellate. Okay, the original is for interpretation. What we went to the Supreme Court was to interpret the constitutionality of PNDC Law 75. And the Supreme Court said that, look, this law that you are following is a spent law. So don't come back here and come and be asking us on that point. It had nothing to do with cause or matters.
Okay, so clarity.
And
clarity
you keep whipping, and then they even misled the president on it, and the president was all over. Yes, you people went and told the president that
the lawyer
we have a Supreme Court rulings. We have a Supreme Court ruling. When they asked that you should bring it, then you
It's been a while since I've heard this bit about misleading and in line with the president.
Yes.
But we can't.
But read it. It's here. It's here.
No. Maxwell, we're not going back there. So as of this point, we're going to take our peace messages and then we shall conclude.
Yeah.
Dauda, to your people, and not just your people, to the
277.
The other side as well.
Yes.
That is what I love them. That's
message of peace. Maxwell, please hold for me. Your message of peace is what?
My message of peace to my people in Bawku, the Mampusis, and my uncles and brothers, the Kusasis, is that all these killings will not take us anywhere. At the end of the day, when we are all dead, who is going to be the chief? The Bokunaba, the Zugrana, needs the cooperation of Mampusis and the other tribes to enjoy his kingdom that he says he wants to create. Likewise, Na Sherega is a necessary party for the peace to go on in Bawku. Because the Mampusis have a historic, royal lineage. That cannot just die because somebody says, okay, you used to be the chief. Now there's emancipation. So your chieftaincy, clear off. We are now going to be the chiefs. So what happens to the Mampusis? So the win-win situation is that if the government is listening, let the two chiefs sit down. And let's dialogue, let's jaw. If you can create a parallel system of chieftaincy with mutual respect. The Nasherga was installed by the Naivi. We have situations where Asante Hini, Otumfo, Osei Tutu, has installed chiefs in Broa Hafo region, and they are there. There's no problem. You go to Twobodog and all those things. So you cannot use administrative boundaries to curtail this.
Let's stick to the message of peace.
Yeah, so the peace...
We are not doing any further.
Yes, so the peace
message.
So you see, the peace is that I'm asking that the guns should be silent. First of all, when the guns are blazing, you can't even sit and talk. We had that one before in Tamale. Myself and Maxwell here. We're in Tamale. We're also in Bawku as well. We all saw that situation that our people were facing. People cannot go to market, children cannot go to school, administrative staffs are leaving, taking transfer. It's not helping anybody. It's taking us backward. I mean, the Southerners are insulting us that we are backward. And it's true, because we are not seeing the realities of modernity. We are still going back to our old... What is there in the chieftaincy matters, apart from the fact that it is that identity that we have? Well, others are fighting for chieftaincy to have gold and all those things. We are now fighting. But I'm saying that Maxwell, you and I, okay, can lead a cause that the chieftaincy matter is an old age problem. Okay, we should not mix this one with coexistence.
I want us to end on that point. Two important points I've taken from this. You can have a parallel chieftaincy, everybody respected, and you say this is an age-old problem.
Yes.
In fact, both of you can lead the charge to bring it to an end. Maxwell, your message of peace. Let's stick to peace.
Yes, but just before that, something simple. The chiefs that the Asante Hene and Skins in the Bono area.
No.
They go straight. They voluntarily submit themselves to Otumfo. I've heard Otumfo himself say that if you don't come to him, he won't force you. So you are mixing apples with oranges.
Mr. Agambilla, we are leaving in a minute, so let's go.
But you will give him a lot of time, and then...
Unfortunately, there are times when we've given you...
Yes. My message of peace, and I've said it all along, the killings are completely needless. And on this matter, I think that the government must act, and act swiftly, because we have identified the cause of the problem from day one. Just about 2 days ago, they issued a release and said that they had identified why there was turbulence in Bawku. I think they should deal with that.
Okay.
And then, but to my teaming youth, my brothers down there, I think that our, continuing to jeopardize our lives and put our lives at risk it's not worth it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit anybody in any way. I don't think that we can kill the Mamprisis enough into submission. And they obviously cannot kill us into saying that we are no longer chiefs of Bawku. Okay. So I think that we should let the guns go silent. But more importantly, the government must stop, pampering one side.
All right.
And let the law take its course.
We'll let it end there. I'll wrap with this message. Liza Abagri says, thank you, Joy News. The people of Bawku are grateful for the time. It's been quite a bit of time we've exhausted on this conversation because of how crucial it is. Gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you. My in-house gets Sweetie Abochi. But of course, we had two lawyers, Maxwell Agambilla, speaking for the Kusasi Group, and lawyer Dauda Jawara Salifu, also speaking for the Mampusi Group. Maxwell is also the spokesperson for the Bawku Naba, as you would call it. And you also spoke for the, is it? All right. Ma'am, thank you. We also had Professor Kwesi Enning, security consultant, providing bespoke services, joining the conversation. We take a breather. We'll be back with more action on the AM show. Do stay.
Welcome back. You're still watching the AM show. Now let's talk about DPS International Ghana. And I remember we had a conversation with them about a week or so ago with Dr. Sima, telling us about the values of the school, the facilities, and why you should absolutely take your word there. In the studio with me this morning for a conversation or to continue our engagement with DPS International School is Mr. Stephen Abochi. He's the head of department for the mathematics department. And no, he's not my brother. My name is Abochi. He's Abochi. And we also have Mr. Dunyo. Did I get that right? Mr. Dunyo? Okay, Mr. Moses Dunyo is the head of department for commerce department. And then we have Dr. Mary Jacob, the school academic head. Lady and gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So we already engaged Dr. Sima, and she told us, wonderful things about the school, the facilities, and the values. But for the benefit of those who are only listening to us for the first time, Dr. Mary Jacob, tell us a bit about DPS International School.
Well, if you want me to talk a little what Dr. Sima has said, apart from that, I would like to actually state that our school is a high-performing school, and there are many reasons for it. Apart from the infrastructure and other facilities provided for us, we do have a number of initiatives and programs which actually, make our school a high-performing school.
What are these programs? What specific programs?
Let me walk you through some of these.
Yes, please.
Yes. First, if I would like to focus on them, I would state the academic enrichment programs, where we have actually advanced placement, A levels and IB courses for challenging students, very high achievers, so that the academics are challenged. But apart from this, simultaneously, we do have a very robust mentoring and tutoring of other students, so that, who are struggling, they have a little extra support, and thereby we actually don't leave anybody behind, and everybody is included. So like everybody is supported.
Yeah. So it's not like you're just casting some students out because they're not performing well enough, but you rather help them, give them a special need
and support needed, so that even they can have a path of success,
Okay.
And
let me come to Moses. Mr. Moses Donyo, you are head of commerce. Head of Department for Commerce. That's an interesting department, Tell us about that. And then also reiterate what the values of DPS International School really are.
Okay, so when you come to the Commerce Department at DPSI, we have subjects ranging from economics, accounting, business studies, sociology, geography, and when it comes to psychology, actually been added also. So on the aspect of our values, at DPS we have a couple of values that we do, we work on. So we're talking about ethics. So with the ethics, what we try to do is that we try to inculcate in our students to be able to be morally upright. On the aspect of, we also value what we call competitive spirit. So what we do is that we try to foster that kind of positive competitive spirit among our students. So what we do is that we do organize both internal and external competitions where our students do take part in. And once they are able to do that, it places them in a better position to be able to excel in their future endeavors. Okay. So one more thing, one other value that we do really work on is when it has to do with trying to make sure that we are able to bring that kind of, how do I put it? Yep, when it comes to trying to make sure that we improve on their communication skills, as well as how to be able to express themselves wherever they find themselves.
Okay, so creating a healthy, competitive environment for students to learn and thrive. What about you, Mr. Butch? You're head of department for mathematics. They say that math is not a lot of people's first choice. How do you make it interesting for the students?
So for mathematics, it's not a difficult subject, I would say. But
easy for you to say.
But what we do is, first of all, we make you believe that everybody is capable of doing it. So that takes 50% of the burden off. And then we gradually take you through the process, engage you. We look at your strength and weakness and we engage you based on that. And consistently, if we work with you and you're also willing to work, we move you from the F to C, the C to the A stars. So that is how we do it. We have personal engagement with the students, understand them. It's not only about the teaching. Sometimes you want to understand and channel the teaching to their passion, something that they love. When you do it that way, they are able to have interest in the subject and you guide them. Consistently, if they work, the A-star manifests itself.
That's true. And then we say that sometimes the performance of the students is dependent on the qualities or the approach of the teachers. So how seriously does DPS International take the qualification or the development of their staff?
You know, professional development is key to engaging students. So DPS family take that seriously. So what we do is we have what we call stay-backs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So after school, students are gone, teachers stay 2-3 hours. And then what we do is we have in-house experienced teachers who take us through some of these trainings. Or sometimes we bring external people in, engage us. We have people from the British Council coming. Or sometimes other conferences, the school pay for us. I remember when we have to start the IB program. Even
IB for short for
International Baccalaureate.
Yeah.
Even though we've not gotten the accreditation, what the school did was to select teachers, train them very well before even we got accreditation too. So when it comes to professional development, it is an everyday affair for DPS.
And top notch, huh?
Yes.
Dr. Jacob, do you want to add something to that about how seriously the school takes professional development?
Yes, we do arrange training sessions for them. And if we want to bring out the quality of teachers, they are, when we engage them, they are highly qualified, first thing. And secondly, they go through a process of training and all that. And because the school is relies heavily on data-driven instructions. So they all undergo their training so that they can come with effective and best teaching practices. And also they have professional development programs which are open for them and which are ongoing all the time, so that they are fresh with the present best practices in teaching, so that instructions are molded and they are tuned to and they are tailored to the instructions to be given to the students, and they themselves are informed, so they have informed decisions to make how they can have a very dynamic and interactive classrooms. So they are very talented and skilled in these years they have been with us. So it's very regular, on regular basis we do have these training, professional development trainings for them.
What would you say to a parent who's watching us right now and looking for the best schools to enroll their wards in as a way of inviting them to DPS International?
Yeah, I would say that actually ours is a holistic environment where with the best in state-of-art infrastructure that we are having, we do have very qualified and talented senior teachers with us who are there for a long standing. And we do have different curriculums like A-level and IB to meet the needs of all the students, even if they are struggling or if they are high achievers or whatever it is. And then we do have all facilities provided when we speak of extracurricular activities and all, where we have diverse number of clubs and sports and, you know, all other art programs which will help them actually not only engage them during these activities, but also helps them to actually learn or develop their leadership qualities. I could say all the 21st century skills like communication, collaboration and creative thinking, problem solving when they all get together. So we do stress and give a lot of importance for all these activities apart from academics. Okay, academics very base for us.
Yeah.
But then our management also, you know, they go all out to give every kind of facility that we need, especially that our school is, as I told you before, it's relies heavily on the data you know, driven instruction. So our teachers, they use all these assessments and analysis of this data in order to tailor their instruction for the classroom to become very dynamic and interactive.
Okay.
You understand?
I understand you perfectly. Thank you so much. I'll give you 30 seconds each, Stephen and Moses, to speak directly to our audience in 30 seconds, inviting them to DPS International. I'll start with you, Moses.
All right. What I would like to say regarding this is that when it comes to DPSI, we ensure holistic development of students. So in that, we make sure that when it comes to DPS, it's not all about books. So there are opportunities for students to be able to explore, to be able to exhibit their talent. We've done this, and it's evidential when you go to them. So through this, some of our students have been able to build up their portfolios, most of them, to the extent that even before sitting for their final exams, they
encourage you to bring your wards to DPS International because we offer the best state-of-the-art facility. We engage the students, we understand them, and we help them develop holistically. So we don't reject anybody. Provided you are willing to learn, we'll guide you holistically to develop you as a person.
Do this for me. Is there a number to call before we go? In case someone wants to contact the school, is there a number to call? Is there a website? What's the contact information?
We do have
Moses, you want to give us the contact information? Or Stephen? Okay.
So they can go to the school.
School's website. Okay, we'll bring you the details subsequently.
All the details.
But this is Mr. Stephen Abochi, Head of Departments for the Mathematics Department. And then we also have Mr. Moses Dunyo, Head of Departments for Commerce. And then, of course, Dr. Mary Jacob, the School Academic Head, joining us for a brief conversation. Thank you so much for coming, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. There's still a lot more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be back in a bit.
I'll be telling you about the Belakwa Take a Break Vigil shortly, but before that, let me tell you, as I welcome you back, about this year's CompuGhana Cashback, which has been named as Prime Cashback Season. And it's packed with incredible deals and exciting surprises. This Prime Cashback, CompuGhana is bringing you exclusive discounts, prime savings, and awesome surprises when you shop products from any of their branches nationwide. You can find products from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, HP, Lenovo, Dell, Midea, Nasco, Tecno, Infinix, itel, Huawei, and many more. Visit any of CompuGhana branches nationwide and enjoy exclusive discounts on all products. CompuGhana has a wide range of IT-related products, including mobile phones and electronic products such as laptops, printers, desktops, mobile phones, tablets, televisions, fridges, home theaters, air conditioners, gas cookers, and more. What's more amazing is this year's Prime Cashback with CompuGhana has got great prizes with instant gifts and cash prizes for your shopping experience. When you shop at CompuGhana this season, be on the lookout for the surprise team, answer a question correctly, and win instant cash and gifts. You deserve this opportunity too. So guess what? Rush to CompuGhana now. The promo runs from now till December. Visit CompuGhana.com or call 0302 752020 for more information. Let me also tell you about the Medicas Hospital right before I come into the studio. Medicas Hospital is a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind, spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and they have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine led by Dr. Yor Safo, the drive time doctor, to serve you. They are also offering general medical services as well as specialist services in the following: plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. They're also offering a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopies, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And to boot, there's a 24-hour pharmacy ensuring that you always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. They are bringing to you as well the most powerful medicine of all: simple human kindness and empathy. They pride themselves in holding themselves to the highest attainable standards, and they're accepting all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. So you can look out for them at number 10 Kinso Street near Ashaleboche School Junction, and you can reach them on 0501 477 340 or on social media at Medicas GH, Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. But from there, let me tell you about the Bell Aqua Take a Break Vigil. If you don't take a break, you will break at some point. You understand? So take a break before you break. And joining me to talk about it in the studio, I have the head of marketing at Bell Aqua, Chris Ado Sarkodie. Will you drop some bars with Bell Aqua this morning? Because Sarkodie, there you flow, you go flow this morning giveaway with Bell Aqua.
We'll try.
Obede. We also have in the studio Dr. Seth Mausi Asafo, whom I say has dogged me. Dogged me. I'll say it on air so everybody will know. He's a clinical psychologist, lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So let's start with this whole bit about a mental health campaign. The question is, why a mental health campaign and why Bell Aqua? Let me start with you, Mr. Sarkodie.
Yes, thank you for having us this morning. So we at Bell Aqua, we pride ourselves with, premium quality drinking water, which we've been giving Ghanaians since 2011. And it's not just about, for us, it's not just about, the quality of water that we give to Ghanaians, but we're also concerned about the well-being of Ghanaians, And there are so many areas that, as a company, we could decide to focus to support society. But we believe that mental health cuts across, from children to the adults, with the stresses of life and all that. And especially because in Ghana here, mental health isn't something that a lot of people, have paid much attention. But unfortunately, something that is really causing more harm and havoc in societies. So as a brand, we've taken it up, since last year, working with the experts and organizing activities and events that, gives Ghanaians the chance to engage the psychologist and all that to ensure our mental well-being. So we are proud of what we've started, and that's what we are here to talk about.
Right. And you mentioned something interesting as I come to Dr. Asafu. He mentioned children. You know, I've encountered situations where someone says, oh, mental health, and you're referring to a child, and I say, now where do you again? You know, that kind of situation. Before we even get into why you're on board on this, mental health, what will you say about it? How do you break it down to viewers?
Thank you very much, and it's been a long time.
It has.
Good.
It has.
And every time I have the opportunity of talking about mental health, I try to destigmatize further by opening the perspective.
Right.
I say this because a lot of the times when people hear mental health, they also hear mental illness. But those are two very different things. Mental health is not mental illness. Mental health is just like physical health. There are days you probably would wake up, you don't feel yourself. It doesn't mean you're sick, but you're not performing or feeling yourself like at 100%. It's the same thing with mental health. And lately, I've been trying to put the analogy of a ladder and say mental health, look at mental health like a ladder. You can climb the ladder and get further up, and you can do so many other things that brings you down the ladder. Now, if you are carrying a lot of baggage, it's difficult to climb, and that's where take a break becomes an important thing. Take a break to recuperate, re-energize, re-strategize, so you can climb further. Now, mental health is not all about classically madness, like what we see on the street, but mental health also encompasses the way we feel. And feelings are things that we neglect a lot, especially among men. So when you look at disorders like depression, bipolar, those are feeling-related disorders. So mental health also encompasses that. It can be as simple or subtle as being extremely shy or being extremely afraid.
Or maybe even being extremely sensitive.
Exactly. Or being very angry or feisty all the time. All those are mental health related. It also looks at the way we deal with stresses. Now, there's a fact, which is that we can never do away with stress, but we can manage stress. And the way you choose to manage, which is coping, is also a facet of mental health. Then it looks at our social connections, the way we interact with people, and the kind of choices we make. So mental health, everybody feels it somehow.
Indeed.
It's not just the person is mad. And by expanding it, I'm trying to disabuse people's minds from it's just that weird case, extreme. What many of us see is really extreme. So mental health is broader. And if we start looking at it and think about it as a continuum, we also recognize the importance of taking initiatives that enables our mental health to thrive, like taking a break.
Yeah. And it's important you make that point because many people think, oh, once you have to see a psychologist or even a psychiatrist, depending on the situation, what about them? You know, like what teaching. And they don't realize that all of us, you must find equilibrium. And at some point, it may tilt this way or that way, and you need to find a way of finding that balance. Which also reminds me of a scenario where in many schools, maybe I've seen this before, people are laughing, there's someone standing aside, and there's something hilarious those people are laughing about. But someone is standing somewhere thinking, oh, they're laughing at me.
Oh, yes.
Without all of those are issues that come from many different developments.
Piggyback on that is one of the biggest things about the stresses we face in the modern time is based on our thinking processes. And I always give the example of when you watch a movie and you feel the emotion, say you watch horror, you feel the emotions of the horror movie. Why are you afraid? The monster can't come out of the screen, but you still feel fear. In the same way you watch an emotional movie, and you're probably crying at the end of the movie in part 1, 2, and 3, all of them, the same person dying, you're still crying. But that's the power of the human mind. So you see, when I walk into a room and then I feel like they are talking about me, what happens internally is that my body says I'm in danger. The brain activates your danger signal. And your danger signal is synonymous to being in any kind of stressor. So usually, the way the human mind works is anything it cannot comprehend, it says stressful. It says danger. And that's why even positive things like getting married can be dangerous. Because then, people start, oh, so I can't be doing this again, I can't be doing it. And a change is coming. So change can be positive, but it still registers as stressful on the mind. So think about small things like getting a new job, becoming a parent. Then the stresses are absolutely.
And that's why you would also have a number of people sometimes get cold feet when some of those events in life come up.
Yes.
But let me come back to you, Sarkodie. Let's talk about the Healing Together, campaign, because it's Take a Break. It's also we're having the Healing Together vigil and all of that. Tell us about it.
So basically, just taking off from what Doc, the advice that he was given, that is basically what Belacqua is seeking to do tomorrow. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. at Alliance Francaise, what basically we're doing is that we are having psychologists and therapists at the venue.
On board. Will Dr. Asaf will be there? So that I'll come and disturb him.
100%.
I'll come because of him to come
100%. So we are having therapists and then psychologists on board, where we are going to have conversations about our mental well-being. So many discussions around how to manage anxieties and some of the things that he's spoken about already. And then there will be also time for us to have some good music from some of our great artists, like Camido. We have Camido on board. We have Episode on board. We have Sinaso. We have AEC. And then we have, quite a great live band also ready for us tomorrow. So it's about mental health discussion, releasing stress, having fun through music. Jeffrey Notte will also be there, the skate maker, to also perform, give us some drama, and so many things just for people to unwind. So all that we are asking is that just tomorrow, 6 p.m., join us at Alliance Francaise. Let's take a break. We know there's pressure. It's end of the month. Whether you met your target, you didn't meet your target, how are you going to manage all those things?
Whether your salary has come, it has.
Or your salary is delayed.
It's a stress point too.
Very.
It's a stress point.
Very. So they'll be around. It's
So Alliance Francaise tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Time again.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. All these artists will be there. You will also have services so that they can come. Even if it's a panic attack, I know Dr. Asaf will be there to talk about all of those. Final words, Dr. Asaf?
Well, anytime I have opportunities, I always talk about mental health, and I say there are 3 free things you can do to help your mental health. Because it's a ladder. To climb up that ladder, you must make sure that you are getting adequate sleep. And we're talking about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You must make sure that you're active, not exercising, but physically you're active. Now, one of the things that staying active does is when you're physically active, it makes it difficult for your mind to be wandering. So picking up all these
thing about idle hands are a devil.
Exactly.
An idle brain.
The devil finds work for the idle hands. So when you're physically active, it allows you to bring yourself to the present. So the dance and all these things we'll be doing there, it allows you to turn off your survival system, at least for the 4 or 5 hours you are with us, which is better than nothing. And then the last one has to do with what you're eating. So over the world, what they found to be most helpful for your mental health is fruits, nuts, vegetables, and proteins that are rich in omega-3s. Now, I always tell people, make sure your food is colorful. The more colorful it is, the more you know that it's enhancing your mental health. And we will not give all the applause. Tomorrow you won't come.
Okay.
So,
I feel the vibe. I feel the vibe. Final words.
Yes.
10, 15 seconds.
Yes. Just want to say thank you on behalf of management at Belacqua. I want to thank Ghanaians, for supporting us since 2011. We are proud of this Take a Break campaign, which we are going all out. Additional information is that we are even donating a cash amount of 75,000 cedis to the Mental Health Authority, to still help them on the mental health advocacy. So thank you, and hope to see Ghanaians there tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sarkodie, for joining the conversation. Chris Ado Sarkodie. He didn't, give us any whatever. Maybe next time I'll let him rap for us. Chris Ado Sarkodie, head of marketing at Belacqua. We also had Dr. Seth Mausi Asafo, clinical psychologist and also lecturer at the Ghana Medical School. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
We'll take a breather, but before we do, let me also let you know that you remember that petition by the Speaker of Parliament as far as the Apex Court to quash its initial decision on the bit about the 4 members of Parliament, his decision on that. Among other matters, we'll be bringing you the live coverage of that later on this network. So you want to stick and stay as and when they start, we'll bring you that footage. But Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 15 communities and giving them free water. This is to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us the #1. Now, Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. But do you also know that Syntex comes in so many colors and was the first to come out with inner wide layers? Did you know that? So if it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles at Syntex Ghana and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better the chances of Syntex coming. Remember, it is SINTEX, Syntex tank. No be any tank be tank. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Well, stick and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and it's the lady in orange and the lavender necklace. Who am I? I don't even know.
You are Sweetie Abochi and Benjamin Akapo.
Oh, nice. Nice to meet you, Benjamin.
Nice to meet you, sweetie. In a matter of hours, I'm tipping Keta Senior High and Technical School to carry that trophy home. I know Benjamin is...
I'm rooting for them as well. I mean,
you are?
I am rooting for Keta.
For Infantipim School or St. Augustine's?
My school, Bishop Herman, is in the Volta region.
Okay.
And I'm not being ethnic.
Schools.
But the point is that, you know, we have not won it before. So this could be a good opportunity to do so. But it's going to be the clash of the titans, if you like. Kwabuche Infantipim. There is also St. Augustine's, Apsu. And then there is Keta Senior High. We wish them the very best. But we're crossing over now to find out what the action is as far as the National Science and Math Quiz. And I guess this is where we say...
is winning.
This is where we say goodbye, eh?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us for today. We are leaving you with National Science and Math Quiz in the build-up to the grand finale. Who's winning? Watch to find out.